This is the Renaissance Men Podcast, broadcasting live on YouTube and Twitch. Now please welcome your host, Stuart Garrard.
Good evening and welcome to the Renaissance Men Podcast for September 16th, 2022. I am your host, Stuart Garrard, and joining me this week is not Jimmy. Jimmy's at a sausage festival.
Jimmy's
joining
dad.
me is my very special guest. It's Rock, aka Jimmy's dad, by the looks of things. Hey, Rock, how are you?
Oh, mate, this is a dream come true. This is like a trip to Disney. You know, but I was born before Disney was a thing. So, you know, horseshoes was our entertainment when I was young. So it's amazing. Thank you so much for inviting me. And listen, in honor of the great man, I've kind of got my Jimmy commemorative shirt on. Yep. What I don't have is a Magnum mustache, though. I wish I had one of those, and I could just, you know.
It truly, really is like watching and listening to Jimmy's dad.
Is it?
The shirt isn't quite as loud as Jimmy's.
Okay, right.
But yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I caught your
it hurt, mate. I wish you'd let it go quicker. Sorry.
No, it's fine. This is the kind of banter I was signing you up for. I caught the beginning and end of your show earlier today, and bless you, I put out a good old shout out, and I immediately got some subs. It's fantastic. Thank you, one and all.
There you see, Midas touch. Not only have I spawned Jimmy, but I spawned subs as well.
Happy days.
Happy days. Monday, Tuesday, happy days.
Let's welcome Cloud Gaming Dad, one of said spawned subs. Thank you.
Joey's awesome. Joe's awesome.
Thanks,
Joe is awesome. Thank you, Joe.
This evening. It's going to be some light relief for you, Rock, if you don't mind me saying.
Yeah, it's been we've all let's face it, mate. We've all had a bit of a turgid couple of weeks, haven't we? Yeah. Is that a word? Turgid. It's almost turd, but it's got a J in it. Mm-hmm. You know, under the old iron jackboot and all that stuff, forcibly mourning and everything else. So it's nice to not have to feel that. I mean, I see you're wearing black. That's very respectful.
Well, I'm wearing a Back to the Future t-shirt. So, I do generally wear black, though. To be fair, it's slimming. That's why I wear it. No other reason.
Whereas I'm not.
No, but I do want to talk to you about Operation Lockdown Morning as we go through the show. So hold those thoughts.
Righto.
I do wish to get your thoughts on those. But Rock, I think it's only right that fans of the Renaissance Men might not necessarily know who the hell you are. I know you.
Did you say fans of the racist men then? Or was that just a slip of the tongue?
Freudian slip, obviously.
Freudian, yeah.
But I obviously know you. You're a podcasting legend.
No.
Introduce yourself.
But you know me, which is nice. So yes, I have been. How long have you been content creating? A lot longer than I have, haven't you? You've been
2014. We started. Yeah.
2014. I mean, I only started 2020. So you're vastly more experienced than me. But I tend to live in and around cloud gaming land, largely appealing to the more casual, family-oriented gamer, like your very good self, of course. Being a man of very mature years, who has spent an absolute fortune in surgery, I come across as everybody's sort of slightly drunken uncle at the party. That's how I would put myself. That's
with that shirt.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't come out very often, but I'm always pleased to oblige. I tell you what, shall I just take it off anyway?
No, please don't. No.
Okay.
Actually, no. You probably could, because I never mark these shows as for kids. So
nobody would want to see my nipplage, mate. It's these days it's just like a south-facing compass, basically.
Yes. But I kind of being a Stadia founder myself, and I don't want to talk too much about cloud gaming and Stadia tonight, because
no.
I feel you do a lot of that, and I like this I see this as being your break from that, a time to decompress.
Thank you. This is my vacay.
Yes.
I do it 5 days a week, and I genuinely do. It's like an old Beatles track.
Yeah.
And I'm so pleased to be not talking about gaming tonight, but I don't mind. It's your show, my friend. I'll go in any direction you drag me.
But you know what? It's how I found you, and what drew me into you was that amazing voice. If anyone's listening to this for the first time, Rock, your voice is like I don't know.
It's Terry Wogan without the Irish accent. I like to think.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, many people think you could do the voiceovers for like cinematic trailers.
Yeah, and if I'm caught in the wind in the right direction, I could even face fronted as well. Yeah, no, it's funny. I've had this voice most of my life. It's never kind of just appeared.
One thing I've always wanted to ask is, what was it like before things changed? It was like really high
when I was younger. I genuinely I think even at that point I was hard into cigars and whiskey. So at the age of 4 I kind of started those sacred habits. I don't recall what my voice was like, although I do have a recording of me when I lived in Australia when I was a wee boy. And it's like, hello Nanny, we're gonna sing a song for your birthday. So it was a bit higher in octave.
Yeah. Well,
Alexa's just kicked in. I think
things happen, don't they? It happens to us all. Not Alexa, obviously. The changing.
No, she does, but this is it exactly. But I've always been quite tall from the point where I could grow. But I think you and I share a similar heightage, don't we?
I'm 6'1".
I'm just an inch taller than you. I'm 6'2" and a couple of socks.
Oh, okay.
But not much. But we're very similar in height. Yeah.
I didn't know you used to live in Australia. So do you hold dual nationality then?
I'm a Brit, but we did the old £10 POM thing when in the mid 70s. So I was 5 or 6, I think. 73, actually, we went out there and stayed for a couple of years. And then we came back. And then guess what, Stu? We went back again. When I was 15, we went back. And that's the time I really wish we'd stayed. Yeah. But alas, alack, we came back. Yeah, my dad's got a bit of old gypsy blood in him. And he has lots of kind of anecdotes for getting rid of spiders with conkers and stuff. So I think there may well be a bit of Romany going on in there.
I've heard that anecdote, actually.
It's an old gypsy anecdote.
Yeah, shove some conkers in your house.
Yeah, spiders don't come in.
Yeah.
I think it's just they can't climb over them. That's the fact of it all. Boulders in here. Let's get out quick.
It's a solid strategy. Welcome, Double M, as I call him, mostly Martinez.
Yes, Josiah.
A wonderful shirt. Yes,
yeah. Thank you. It's my tribute to Jimmy. This is my because Jimmy always wears a kind of a Hawaiian stroke very loud shirt.
He does. He's a man of great style.
Sartorial eloquence.
A shout out to Jimmy. He is heading off to a sausage and cider festival. Hence why he can't be with us this evening.
A sausage inside her? What? That's
brilliant.
This
absolutely brilliant.
I mean, Jim, I know you've got, kind of thespian roots and stuff, mate, but that's as low as a professional actor can go. You know what I'm saying? It'll be on Pornhub later. I might go and tune in.
Too late to bump off Jimmy and just get Rock full time. I don't know. Difficult phone calls might have to be made.
Yes.
Love you, Jimmy. You have a lovely time.
Yeah, can't get rid of the saint, mate.
Well, thank you for joining us, Rock. We are here on the Renaissance Men. We are going to, just chat some stuff.
Yeah.
Throughout the evening,
Does anybody actually sleep in that bed? By the way, Stu, it never looks properly made to me.
That's as good as it gets, Rock. To be honest,
right? Okay, it's more like a scout's tent that's just been let down for the Friday.
Well, do you know what? It's usually me that makes it, so that's why there's not much effort put into it.
Yes, that's I think that's you're a proper man if you can't make a bed. That's how I look at it.
I think so. But yeah, we're going to chat some. What we got coming up this evening? We've got some. Ask Us Anything. Obviously, got some. Can the past make us laugh? Thankfully, Rock, you've supplied that for us.
Yeah.
got hot takes as usual, and we've got the week.
I love that.
Got the weekend
I love
gig.
hot takes.
I
just want to get this out here
go on.
because I say it all the time. This is genuinely one of the highlights of my week. It genuinely is. And I've said this to Stu so many times, and I've said it in public. I love this show. I used to listen to it when it was audio only, and then I was amazed to see how ugly they were when it actually came to YouTube.
Yep.
I've grown to become fond, but I try to always catch it live. Because I love the bants and the stuff, and when it gets to wrestling, I turn it off.
No, that's fair enough. That's an acquired taste.
It's a bit Oliver Reed around the fireplace for me, but
I know that's fair enough. And not to kind of turn this into a sausage fest. I also obviously watched your show for probably since the inception. Getting into Stadia and finding Rock, watching everything he does, supporting everything he does. It's you're just a lovely man.
Hey, thank you.
With a great voice and amazing content. We'll shout out, give a shout out to your channel.
Whatever, they can find me. You just whatever.
But Rock, I want to know what you've been up to this week.
Well, I live a very boring life as a man of maturity.
Yep.
So I tend to stick. What you're seeing me in here is actually my office, come studio, come man cave.
Yeah.
And I tend to inhabit this little space, and it genuinely is a little space. It's got to be about 7 foot by 6 foot. It's tiny. I mean, honestly, the Cray twins had more space than this, but they didn't get to stream. I wonder if they could have done if they'd asked, though.
Yeah,
That would have been good, wouldn't it? Cray twins. They could have done like the little cat videos and all the stuff all the lovely stuff that you'd expect from
huge TikTokers.
Ronnie and Reggie. Yeah. Dancing on TikTok, they'd have been good at that. But anyway, bit boring. The highlight of the week, I'll be honest with you, mate, was today. Other than this show, which is a lifetime achievement award, but we're heading down to Bournemouth on Sunday to take my daughter to uni. Yeah.
Okay.
Like a bit of Bournemouth. And so the wife said, could you go and grab the top box out of the shed at the end of the garden? I thought, done it many times. No problem for me. I'll go and grab the little top box. So anyway, I managed to get it out of the shed past the lawnmower and stuff that I don't think I've ever used. And then in days gone by, Stu, I'll be honest with you, I could just lift it up and pop it on my shoulders because it's relatively light when it's empty, and take it to the car. But I've been on a diet for 2 months, and what I hadn't realized is that I've lost all my muscles. So I lifted this thing up and I went, I'm teetering. I'm teetering. And
I felt all sense of strength.
I fell back onto a metal table. Bruised myself. And then, worst of all, I rolled into the tomato plants that my wife has been diligently farming all summer. Do you know what she said? She didn't say, "You okay? You didn't break anything." She said, "My tomatoes." And then later, I said to my daughter, "Oh, my back's hurting a bit." She said, "Yeah, Mum told me she was really miffed about her tomatoes." Oh, great! That's what happens after 30 odd years of marriage, my friend.
AKA Frank Spencer, as I live and breathe.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you do it on roller skates and have your stunt gloves on?
I think I'd have done a better job on roller skates, if I'm honest with you, mate.
Yeah. But I hope you're okay, though. Hope you're okay.
See when you get to be a legend like me, you can
sick.
You get your own cameraman that follows you. See,
that's nice.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, you're a tinkerer, and I love that about you. You're
that's
always
the Romany blood.
Tinkering. We chat a lot on Twitter, and
we do.
We most of it, or a lot of it, is just sharing tips and tricks about streaming. It's great. I get most of my tips from you. It's amazing.
I love to share knowledge. I think I'm a frustrated teacher, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I could see you as a teacher.
Could you?
Leather straps on you.
On my my Lederhausen, maybe.
Yeah. So the highlight of your week was falling into some tomatoes.
Pretty much. Honestly, I'm just going to tell you, I broke out the winter socks. That was a nice thing. Got them on right now, keep me old chilblains alive.
Oh, wow. Do you know, it's funny. I completely empathise with you because Jimmy always comes on with a a witty anecdote about. I suspect he makes half of them up. To be fair,
Right.
but
So what? There are no ladies that he does lunch with, or
I doubt it.
matey from The Only Way Is Essex over at the pub and all that
Exactly.
stuff.
Yeah. If he didn't have video evidence, then I'd highly doubt him. But,
Okay. I'm taking it.
Yeah, and then
Oh, but he did show us Matey Boy from what's he called? The guy on the beach. I've forgotten his name. Begins with a B. Maybe it doesn't begin with a B. Running down the beach with his women with their rescuing people in the sea. Baywatch. The Hoff. Exactly. We've seen. There you go. See?
Oh, we did, didn't we? Oh, yes.
You did.
Do you know what? You know
showed
more about
evidence
this show than me. It's crazy.
I'm a fan. I'm a genuine fan.
So many of these that I genuinely forget what we've done. I often think I've repeated segments in the past because I've forgotten about doing it the first time. But
imagine doing a show every day where you've got to come up with news.
Cheers to you, brother.
Do it
I mean, I always, like I say, just can't always come on and feel a bit. When my anecdote is usually, I took Benj to the park.
Yeah.
It's usually a bit of a come down after Jimmy's amazing, like theatrical shenanigans that he gets up to during the week. So yeah, I feel your pain.
Thanks, mate.
That for me, that's quite an exotic anecdote that you brought.
Yeah,
to the table
I mean, Martinez has put a proper emoji of a tomato in the chat, and genuinely, they were looking like that, and now they don't. It kind of works well against the.
Here's to the tomatoes.
With your Carlsberg. Me, I have a cup of coffee with coconut milk.
I usually go with a hot drink.
That's what I thought.
But I had to calm the nerves. I've had some Dutch courage. I genuinely was nervous about this evening.
This is if I can't make it. So when you get caught short and you're streaming, but it's good for.
Yeah. Okay, you're one of those.
It's good for your bones, apparently.
That's the Romany in you again, I think.
Oh yes.
What have I been up to this week? Well, not a great deal. I've had a couple of days off with Amanda, and whenever I have 2 days off work, or a day off work or a week off work, I always have these grand plans. I'm going to do this and this, do this to the house, do this to the garden. We're going to go out to this village and this town, this city. Kind of spent 2 days just playing video games, to be honest.
Perfect.
Which, I don't know. Should I feel guilty about that as a 40-year-old man? I don't know. No. 40 is a good age to start doing that stuff, mate, if I'm honest. Yeah. You want to get all that kind of helping the wife and the DIY stuff. Get it all out of the way in your 20s and 30s. Okay. Yeah. And then when you get to your 40s, then you want to set how you want things to be for the rest of your life, basically. So my wife now is actually quite pleased that she rarely sees me. So she can get on and do her thing. So that's what you've got to look forward to. It's different because Ben's just still young. But let's put 15 years on him, mate, and your wife will can't you just go up and stream or go and play on your Switch version 12 or whatever? That's what it'll be like. You wait and see. Well, do you know what? I think eventually the boy, for newcomers to the chat, I have a 5-year-old boy, Benjamin, who often comes in on the stream. He does. Another highlight of the show. Yeah. I'm hoping that he will obviously come and... who the hell is that, Dad? Take over this legacy. Yeah. Who's that? Yeah. I said what's happened to Jimmy? Benjamin, don't come in tonight because I want this to be a professional episode. I've got we've ruined that already. Legend with me. Don't come in. So he's been a good boy. He's gone straight to bed. So hopefully, has he? Bless him. He's crossed. He won't have been. Was he tired? He was. Tired he is. It is. Back at school. By Friday they're shattered, absolutely shattered. Yeah. Is this his first year now, or did he go last? He was in. This is year one, so he was in reception. Did a full year of reception. He's in year one now. So gotcha. It's kind of they're ramping up the teaching methods now. It's no more playing with Lego and going outside and watching. YouTube. I know. It's such a shame when they go because my kids went to a combined, I think they call it a combined middle school. So it was when they were tiny all the way up to when they go to high school, and then they go off to high school. But it's such a shame because they've got that lovely family environment at the younger school, and then they go to Grange Hill, stroke Auschwitz,
And it's like, oh, I didn't want to tell you it was horrible. It's hideous.
I hated secondary school. I don't know what you were like.
I hated it, mate. And do you know the worst thing of it is as well, Stu? As you know, when you're younger, your perception of time is a lot longer, which I think is a natural thing. So you learn more, you absorb more what's going on around you, right? So when you're at school for 5 years, you're actually there for 20 years. It's like a prison stretch.
Yeah,
if you went now, you go, oh, that was quick. Didn't learn nothing. Let's crack on. But then you're like, every day. I can't. It's terrible. That's what it's like. Horrible.
It is. A complete grind is what it is.
It's horrible, mate.
Complete grind.
Yeah.
Well, if this is your first time with us, warm welcome to the show. If you enjoy the content, please give us a like and hit that subscribe button. I know we've had a few of rock fans come over and hit the subscribe button, so please do. Yes. Lovely to have you. Welcome to the Renaissance Zone. We talk about all kinds of stuff: Lego, TV, films,
Star Wars,
wrestling, video games, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But with that all being said, Rock, I think it's time that we take a look at some channel highlights from the past week in the Around the Channel. Here we are. It's time to look at what we've. Do you know what? I'm going to start with your channel. It feels remiss of me to start with my own channel. So let's have a look at Rock's channel. I need to get it up. Bear with me. I'm unprepared for my own segue. Bear with.
They were great fun. Did you ever be on a Segway?
I haven't.
Oh, mate, it's so much fun. You know, the managing director of Segway UK literally drove off a cliff on his own Segway.
You are shitting me.
No. Google it now. It's an absolute fact. It's one of nature's most amazing facts.
That's amazing. No,
it's true as well. I'd love to think he was trying to avoid a small dog, but I don't. But he did. He was just going along. The gyro stuff was doing its thing, and all of a sudden he was off the edge. That was it.
Did he die? I'm laughing. As if,
he never got up again. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay.
No. Him and his Segway were one. Yeah.
Rock, this is I mean, you've got 2 channels, haven't you? I always get
3 actually.
3? Okay.
And there's 2 and 1 that I've almost abandoned.
Okay. Well, let's concentrate on Rokkshow. This is the one I tend to gravitate to the most.
Yes.
Tell us what you do on your channel or on your channels.
So this channel is really dedicated to Google Stadia, which is, Stu, because you've got one. And it's a cloud gaming platform. Not for everybody, but it's, look at that. Thank you, cameraman. But it is one that, I'm fond of. So I do 4 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I do Rock Around the Clock. Which is literally an hour, about 5 p.m. UK time, talking about Stadia news. Most of the time there isn't much, so it really gives me a chance just to waffle, and I waffle like a demon. And then on Tuesdays we do the Stadia Rokkshow, and you'll see there's a theme here with the word rock, which is myself and a couple of co-hosts, 3 co-hosts, and we kind of do the previous week's worth of Stadia content.
Hit that join button.
Yeah, join. Do definitely join. Yeah, it's worth it. These guys are lovely. Got Patreon as well, haven't you, Stu?
No, not anymore.
Oh, you did? I knew you did have one. Yeah,
we did.
Probably good.
Do you know, it's
cheaper than YouTube.
Funny story about Patreon is that I felt I got rid of it because I felt beholden to my patrons. I felt like any decision I made had to kind of, I don't know, not go through them, but I felt
democratize it, sort of.
Yeah, thing. I felt so much pressure when I had paying people that were contributing actual funds to us. That's when I knocked it on.
Yeah, because you were selling little badges and all sorts of stuff. Well, not selling; they were partly giving them away as part of your memberships and stuff.
And that got a ball ache because I asked for people's addresses and they weren't giving them to me.
Never gave them to you. Yeah.
Half the people didn't get their badge. I feel like a fraud. Selling snake oil.
Yeah, I know what you're saying though. I mean, I think I've got about 42 members now. But to be fair to them, bless them, they're really, nobody puts any pressure. I try and do as much content as I can, but it can be difficult, particularly when you're doing literally 5 shows. Well, 6 if you count Thursday nights, which is on my Rock Players channel, which is cloud gaming, but all the other platforms. That's a maybe 2.5 hour effort. But yeah, I mean, it's just lovely. It's nice, and the same for you. I know what you're saying, but equally it's nice. People like, and it's very much an American tradition, of course, sort of showing your appreciation by tipping. And I've said this before to people that it's not as much of a tradition in the UK. So we find it a little bit weird and in some ways a bit embarrassing.
I think that might be what it is. Suppose it is a cultural thing.
I think it is.
It didn't sit right with me. Do you know?
No, but obviously Americans are super generous people. They genuinely are. If somebody says I can't afford my auntie's funeral, they'll bung hundreds of dollars, and they're just genuinely very charitable people. So for them, if they watch what you do and they appreciate it, they feel like they want to show that appreciation, it's amazing. And it's how this entire ecosystem is built up, really. But there's I don't know how many thousands of videos on there, and it's kind of growing quite nicely at the moment. I'm aiming to get up to a couple of thousand by the end of the year in subs, which will be quite nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
Fair play to you. I love your channel. It's got a level of professionalism and quality about it that I just can't.
But don't forget, a lot of that comes from my commercial background, my real IRL background. So, I've been in design marketing and that's that end of the world since I was like 18 years old, and for many of those years I had an ad agency, a design agency, a publishing business. The first web design agency in south of Bristol.
Wow.
Back in 95. The web was only 4 years old. So I've built a load of websites, and design is a thing that I do. I mean, you can't, to be fair, you wouldn't get that from those rubbish thumbnails you're showing there. But actually, the thumbnails are an artwork. They really are. And I don't get it right. But So I understand brand. That's the thing as well, because that's again my business. My main business to this day is called Rock. And just happens that it's kind of always been me. I know how to build a brand because I do it. I've done it, and I've done it for other people. So I know how to apply those skills, and I know how to get people interested. As it happens, I've also found that people quite like me, which is really nice because I can just do shows that are just me, and I know I wouldn't still be doing it if I had to do pre-record stuff and come up with ideas, Mr. Beast type stuff all the time. That I don't have the staying power for that stuff. So.
No, that's fair. Do you know, I do, outside of all of this, the daily stage of content, which I love, I think it's the best thing you've ever done. Like, strategically, I don't know, like, or just content wise.
It's worked well. It has worked well.
Yeah, really has worked well. I love a lot of the content creation stuff that you've done, like just little tips for content creators. That particularly around the melon side of things, we use Melon as a piece of software, and your melon slices I thought were great. Just all the tips and tricks that you impart, going back to what you said about thinking you would make a good teacher or what have you. I think those videos are some of the best stuff you do.
Yeah, I do. I do that. I love them. I love doing them.
You've got an authoritative voice, and you can explain things very clearly.
I stopped doing melon slices because, well, there wasn't a great deal of appreciation from Melon for doing it.
Bastards.
No, and nobody was really watching them. I mean, for the amount of work that went into them, that relatively few views. I mean, look at that one there, Lightstream, 39 views. Well, my dailies now get 190, 200 views. So, you kind of have to say, okay, so that thing maybe there took me, actually that one didn't take long because that was just me recording the live thing. But those Melon ones, some of them took me over a day, and yet don't have massive amounts of views. So sometimes you just, and I do this anyway, Stu, you'll know this as a long-term watcher of my stuff. I try concepts all the time.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I come up with ideas, I'll give that a go.
Yeah.
And I do all the intros and the outros, and I set it all up. And quite honestly, it doesn't even always come down to whether anybody watched it, because sometimes that needs to build. Sometimes for me, it's just whether it feels right or it doesn't feel right. And I've done shows where I've just not bothered to do a second one because it just didn't feel the kind of thing that I like to do. And because I guess because I'm 55, a lot of my experience comes from old school TV. And those kinds of productions, and that's what I try to bring to a degree to what I do, versus what a lot of the younger content creators associate with YouTube, which is literally Ninja and Dr. Disrespect and their spiel and their gameplay, or Mr. Beast and his stupid antics. There'll be many a death from idiots trying to cash in on that. Whereas I've kind of, it's true. Talk about the Darwin Club. So I like to, I hark back to my heritage, which I know Clive does as well, because Clive Illenden and I are the same age. He's slightly younger, a couple of months difference, about maybe 4 or 5 months difference. But Clive's shows, again, he harps back to those kinds of productions of when we were younger, with segments, and that's kind of what you've been working towards as well, with these different magazine segments, like the old Tomorrow's World of our youth, or the kids stuff you put on the summer holidays. That's what I'm kind of creating, and it seems to resonate with people of all ages, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. This is your other channel, Rock Play. So this is the cloud gaming
wider one. Yeah, it's a baby channel, 65 subs. I don't really push it very hard, but it's we do. At the moment, the best thing on there is that one, Rock Players.
Yeah, I like Rock Players. It's good.
Yeah, we get actually last night's was the first one was good, 104, but we get a consistent 60 odd views, which is pretty much in keeping with the amount of subscribers. But it's good fun, a bit of banter, but it's a little bit more serious because there's so much news to cover in that show that we have to speed it. But it's a grower. I really enjoy it. I love spending time with these guys as well. One thing I wanted to ask you, this is I should have asked you off air, but any plans to make that an audio podcast? I would love that to be an audio podcast. That's a good question, actually, mate. I haven't. I am so lazy. I was saying to you off air that
you mean both?
everything I do has no show notes. I have a bare bones for Stadia Rokkshow, and actually, to be fair, Bjorn writes most of the show notes for Rock Players. So I just tend to wing it. And the problem with doing the audio, as you know, and I use Anchor. Do you use Anchor?
We do, yes. Yeah. So how I do it is I have to download
from Melon.
Yes.
Yeah,
but,
the audio.
Anchor, with Anchor, you can upload the video now.
Video,
so
really, that's it.
Really quite
for
easy.
Spotify. Yeah. So that's what I do. But I haven't done it for several weeks now, which is a shame, because actually the audio version of Stadia Rokkshow does get quite a few listens.
Is it?
Yeah, because people often say to me, even with Rock Around the Clock, they often say, "Oh yeah, I don't actually watch, but I listen with my headphones in." So I took all that on board, and that's when I launched the other channel, which is what's it called? I've forgotten it, Stu.
Oh, the
go down the bottom, mate. It's down there somewhere.
Yeah.
There it is. Deeply relaxing videos.
Forgotten the name.
I know. It's shameful, isn't it? Look at those two. They've been asleep for months up there. Look at them. So look, deep sleep hypnosis. It's genuinely me doing some ASMR hypnosis. If you wanted to do with the sounds of the beach, I took it all to heart, mate. And but not massive views. There's some on there that got really massive views. The ones that specifically say a place like Dartmoor River, 4.4k views.
Wow.
But the ones that just say journey through space, or they like next to no views. So there's a lesson in there for
no one cares about space. Give me
the Dartmoor River.
And I'm there.
But yeah, trip around the world of rock there.
it's fair to say you do a wide range of content. So I implore any fan of the Renaissance men to go and give Rock a subscribe. I'll chuck the links to the channels.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Interesting comment there from Mostly Martinez. He says that because he does a brilliant Star Wars.
He does, yeah, mostly Star Wars.
Mostly Star Wars, yeah, it's absolutely superb. He says most of their most people listen to their audio version than actually watch it, which is very interesting. Maybe you should employ some different hosts, mate, and just put your voices over the top. That could work. Or wear a Chewbacca mask and everyone else could be stormtroopers. That would be good.
It's funny. There was a period where we didn't chuck our podcast out onto the audio feed.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go back to that because this originated as an audio podcast. So I think it's just part of our history that I like to still do that. And we don't get masses of downloads each week, but there's enough for me to want to do it,
Yeah. Why do you do it, Stu? I know why I do it. Why do you do it?
Well, podcast in general.
This whole thing that we're doing right now.
I do it because it's fun. I think if you're going to do something like this for as long as you have, it's got to be fun for you. And when it isn't fun, it's very hard. And you do get those times where you want to quit. But
yeah,
I think why I do it is, and this is going to be quite cheesy, it's for me, it's leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
For Benjamin, he can. This channel is going to be on here now. Well, forever. One assumes. I don't know what Google do when someone dies.
Well, it's up to Putin, but we're going to assume as well.
Oh yes. But yeah, I like the thought of being on here and Benjamin being able to kind of go back and see me drop lots of swear words and rant about things, cultural things, the Queen, such things like that. It
has this historical significance. It absolutely is, isn't it? I mean, genuinely is. If you imagine if, you've got like Samuel Pepys' diary, for example, which I love. It's raunchier than Pornhub, that flipping thing. Yeah. But you imagine if in those days they recorded like this. I mean, every man, not even Pepys, because he rose from obscurity to be almost royalty. But imagine ordinary folk could actually say, this has been my week, this has been my day. And when you go as a kid to school to learn history, it's not all about the queens and the kings and the battles and the industrial revolution. It's actually about ordinary folk. And you could go, we're going to watch Stu here from 2022 in 20, 40, 100 years time, and this is his week. Let's find out what it was like living in that. Do you know what I mean?
Rock fill in some tomatoes.
Look at him! What an idiot! No, God.
That's right, and also, we spoke about Benj, just having him come in and be involved in videos.
Yeah, he's in it.
You can go
he's
back
captured.
I know Jimmy's particularly funny about having his kids on video, and that's fair enough. As a parent, you have to make that decision. But for me, I don't really mind about that stuff. Obviously,
I know what you mean. My wife's never. This is true. She has never been a member of any social media platform.
Wow.
Ever.
Okay. I respect
never.
That.
And she's been around as long as I have, almost. She's seen them all come. So she's never had a Facebook account. She's never had a Twitter account. She's never looked at either of these things. She's good. She's really staunchly private. So I never mention her name. My kids they don't mind so much. They're, you can find them on social, but, and to be fair, I say kids, one's 23 and one's 19. So, they're adults now, but my wife, no, not a chance in hell. She hates the whole idea.
No, some people are just like that, aren't they? And I don't mean that as a bad thing, but by no means. But yeah, going back to Benj, it's the fact that I can go and we'll look back and see him grow up on camera. Basically,
we talked about this offline before, and there's definitely an element of that's funny. There's a video on my Rokkshow channel that is when my dad came to visit, and and it's only about 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, but I watched it the other night and I thought it's so cute because he didn't have a clue what I was doing. He didn't know that he was live or anything. He could see his face on the screen. All he was interested in was seeing how many more wrinkles he had. But it's really charming to watch. It's got there's a level of dad and son banter. And he really is a man out of time. I mean, he's got a proper Devonian accent. You don't hear that anymore. It's really, and so those things are captured forever. More so, I think, than with a camera, because if you're running around like we used to with the old cine cameras or the VHS cameras and stuff, it's a massive thing in front of you. So everybody knows what you're doing. But he didn't know that I had a little camera. He's like, oh yeah,
Voyeur.
yeah. And I said, there's loads of people watching you. Are there? It's lovely.
It is. Comment here from Mr. Martinez. It is cool to watch people talk about cutting edge tech or new entertainment 20 years ago. In 20 years from now, people may be watching your content. That's weird.
As opposed to watching it now, you mean? Yeah. It'd be a bit of a slow burn, wouldn't it? It'd be nicer if they watched it now, Martinez. Come on. But no, I hear what you're saying. Well, this is the thing. And that's why I set up the deeply relaxing videos ones too, because I thought if I just put a load of content out there that, may or may not get traction. But the great thing is with that content, it's timeless. So a babbling brook with some bird noises and a bit of music and stuff. Any point in history, that's going to work okay. So I just thought I'll leave it there. And then in 10, 20 years' time, like Martinez says, Kids' Ego is an inheritance, this crappy old YouTube channel, which just happens to have 150,000 subscribers. And you never know, mate, do you? No. You never know.
Martinez says they might actually not. They might not. They may not be alive yet, Rock. That's a.
And I may not either, mate. In 20 years.
Yeah, the fact that there's people not born yet that could be watching this content.
That's
down
weird,
the line. If there are, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to 2022. We've gone mad. The country's shut down. The Queen is dead.
In 20 years' time, I will be 75 years old, Stu. I may not be. Well, I've been working hard. I've lost a few stone, and thank you. And I'm told by the medical fraternity that my ticker's not doing too badly.
I can't believe I asked you if you're going to be alive in 20 years. I'm so sorry.
No, I don't know, do I? I mean,
I know. It's so rude of me.
But I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I don't drink. I've never taken anything of any illegal nature or semi-illegal nature. I rarely leave my little shed, so there's very little chance of getting hit by a stray drone or anything. Right. So I'm working. I'm more like Howard Hughes when he locked himself up in the top floor of his Canadian apartment block. I'll be there with a massive long beard streaming. Don't come in! You've got the pandemic!
Oh, fabulous. Let's just take a cursory look of what we've been up to this week.
Yes.
Obviously, we have the show that's pumping out at the moment. What did I want to show? What did I want to highlight? I wanted to highlight some Lego builds. We do a lot of Lego content on the channel. If you are new to us, if you join us because of Rock, thank you. But if you are a fan of Lego, we do put up some quite a lot of Lego.
They're great
content.
Videos, actually, mate. They
I love
deserve
doing
more than 10 views. Come on,
I know. These two here, bless her, Jimmy's wife contributed these, where she's doing a couple of Halloween themed builds. What we do is I've played around with the content of doing these. I've done live builds, but they're not particularly engaging. You just sat there watching me build a bit of Lego. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about those. So I've kind of switched tack, and we've gone with these speed builds where we shoot the footage and then speed it up.
Yeah.
So the latest one, I'm currently building a Lego Optimus Prime.
Wow. Does it change to stuff?
It does. It transforms, Rock. It's amazing.
Wow.
But yeah, so you see, we just film the footage and speed it up. I think it's quite compelling to watch. Look at that.
So how long? 4 minutes?
4 minutes. Boom.
So they're not very massive.
No, look at And I'm thinking I'm doing them bag by bag. So this is bag 5 of the Optimus Prime build. Filmed a couple today. Amanda took on the building reins, and she's gonna. I'll probably pump those out onto the channel over the weekend. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm building Lego. I thought, well, why not make some content at the same time? You know, why not?
I think it's a great idea. And you've gone for that slight angled look rather than the kind of hanging the camera down thing.
Yeah, I was doing top down stuff, but then
Yeah.
the camera I was using, the ring light was just showing up and kind of bleaching everything out. So I kind of tweaked it a little bit.
No, I like this because you get to see the pile of bricks, plus you get to see the manual over there as well, so you can see, you know, what you're doing rather than so you get more going on. I love it.
As opposed to 3 hours.
What did our Optimus look like? Oh, there's only bag 5. How many more bags have we got to tune in for then? It's like flipping Game of Thrones, isn't it?
Episode 10. It's 10 bags.
10 bags.
Yeah.
40 minutes. There you go. It's not too long, is it? You could do one at the end, I suppose, of like all of them combined.
Yeah. That's a bloody good idea, actually. I shall do that. I edit them together. That's a bloody good idea. Cheers,
mate. I'm here to please, and I'm cheap.
There we go. So I do chuck some photographs at the end as to the progress so far. Yeah, it's a really cool model.
Yeah, that's cool. Definitely.
So we chuck up some Lego videos every now and again. Obviously, got hot takes. Last week we took a look at the Quantum Leap reboot trailer.
Yeah, so disappointed. I was so disappointed.
I heard you say that.
I felt the same as you guys because you know I actually watched the final one again recently because I remember watching it first time around, just streaming with tears, thinking, "How the hell can you leave him? He's got to get home." And it was so upset, and God was like, "No, mate, sorry." Got to keep doing you do, but sorry, don't just spoil it. Was that a spoiler? It was. No, Jimmy had already spoiled it. I remember that.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I did say to the wife, "Hey, new Quantum Leap, different people." She said, "Well, you know, still be worth watching." I just felt like you guys. Do you know what I was thinking actually, mate? Is you know, as you know, Dean Stanton, bless him, is off this mortal coil. But I thought Scott Bakula could come and take the Dean Stanton role.
Yeah,
he could have been that because he only ever popped in every so often. So if his rates were too high, it wouldn't have mattered because he would have only been in a fraction of the time.
No, I'm just going to get something up on Twitter because he did. Scott Bakula did comment on this today, I think it was, and I forwarded it to Jimmy. It was quite interesting, really. Here we go.
Did he decline?
He did. So he was offered. A part in it. So here we go. To the Quantum Leap fans around the world, in an effort to quiet the rumors and move on. First of all, thanks for hanging around through the decades. Here's the simple version of what's going on with the Quantum Leap reboot and me. Lovely picture of
bunch of fruit. It's Carmen Miranda.
Oh God, I need number 2. Where's number 2? Show this thread. Come on.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay. I have no connection with the new show, either in front of the camera or behind it. In January, the pilot was sold and a script was sent to me because the character of Sam Beckett was in it, which makes sense, right? As so many of you have been asking me the last several months, how could you do Quantum Leap without Sam? Or Al, for that matter? Well, I guess we're about to find out. That's the story. As the show has always been near and dear to my heart, it was a very difficult decision to pass on the project, a decision that has upset and confused so many fans of the original series. However, the idea of anyone leaping around in time and walking a mile in someone else's shoes remains a very appealing concept and so worthy of exploration, especially given the current state of mankind, which I think is great. A fantastic point. And we alluded to that last week. You could do so much Quantum Leap in this.
You make some amazing points because they kind of went back to that whole kind of civil unrest stuff in the 60s.
Exactly.
They try, you know, and there was the one episode with the little the guy that would disabled guy, and you know, I think that's coming for some stick, but I actually thought that it was handled quite well for the time. Do you know, I don't know about this. For me, I hear him saying he's past it, but the first couple of paras are almost saying it wasn't really my decision in the end.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. They offered it to him. He may, to be fair, he may have looked at it and thought it's going to be a tin can budget. you know, and if it does go down in flames, I'm going to get associated with it now rather than all of that legacy stuff, because it was a huge show back in the whenever it was 90s.
Yeah.
And it's still rerunning now. He's obviously still getting his royalties every year.
Yeah, I think it's one of those timeless shows. I mean,
Oh, definitely.
It's
like
always...
Little House on the Prairie, mate. I can never get enough.
Yeah.
The Waltons, love them.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so there we go. A little update on the status of Scott Bakula.
Yeah, thank you for that. That was good.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I thought I'd share.
Thank you.
Right, where are we in terms of the show? Okay, well, as is usually the case at this point in the show, we take some audience questions. And as you are our special guest, Rock,
yes,
I invited you to kind of throw a question into the mix.
Yeah.
So indeed, this is our Ask Us Anything segment. So, Rock, as our super special guest of the week, ask me anything. Ask us anything. I'll just ask a question.
I will. I'm just rereading it because I did, and I'm just thinking, having just said I don't drink and take any partake of any illegal substances, I must have been on something when I wrote this. But here it comes anyway. When you think of Stu, when you think of the decade or two before you were born, do you picture them in the same quality as like crap quality VHS, or do you picture it in vivid contemporary quality? And I'm thinking of like, before I was born, I always think of those days as black and white, because when I was a kid, that's all we saw was black and white movies and video footage of that time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas from before you were born, like when I was a bit younger, it would have all been really rubbish quality VHS. So when you think about my time period, do you think of it like that, or do you think of it like contemporary colors and detail?
That's an interesting one. What do I so are we talking about like the years and decades before I was born?
Or so they wouldn't be your memories. So, you know, like I'm saying to you, I went to Australia in the early 70s. Well, bless you, you were a twinkle, and an eye in the old man's twinkle, basically. So, you know, when you're thinking of Little Rock, and not Arkansas either, and you're thinking about Little Rock in the 70s, you're thinking about Little Rock in VHS quality?
I think I am.
Yeah, you see,
that's weird, isn't it? I think I don't think of it in like current reality quality. That's a strange. It's a strange thing. It's not something I've thought about before. But yeah, you're right. If I'm looking back to the 60s or 70s, 60s, I'm thinking my mind's eyes thinking black and white.
Yeah.
And you know what? I find
Beatles.
it really weird. You know, say when they there's been occasions where they've recolored. Take the Queen's coronation. There's a black and white version.
No, please take it.
there's a black and white version of that, but there's a colorized version of that. And when I see the colorized version, I think, well, that
doesn't look right, does it?
No, it doesn't. It looks odd.
Stop it. Give me black and white back. I know. Because it genuinely, I'm the same. When I think about my mum and dad, when they were courting before I was born, I think of them in black and white land, you know, and with their kind of Elvis quiff and the beehive and stuff. I don't think of them as, obviously in their day, the world around them was exactly the same as it is to us here. But in our thinking, we must patch our thoughts based on any cultural references we have.
That's all we can do, I suppose.
Yeah, it's all we can do, isn't it? But when we think about Romans, of course, we don't have any. So we think about movies with Kurt Russell and and his
Gladiator.
And, all that
Crow.
Well, good old
Carry On Cleo.
No.
Martinez, excellent question. My memories are affected by the entertainment based on the specific time eras. I think I would agree.
Yeah,
that is an interesting one. We're so. It's like it's like we can't compute it, so we've got to kind of take it down to its basic.
Almost use AI, aren't we, to bring in these images? Talking of which, have you seen Crayon?
No.
Oh, Stu, you've got to bring this up. Grab yourself a browser and type. And you're gonna. Honestly, it's all family viewing. You'll love this. But you will.
That doesn't matter a jot.
Okay, fair point. But share a screen, and I'll give you the URL.
Okay.
You want to go to craiyon.com. So it's crayon, but there's an extra I after the A. CRAI for artificial intelligence. And this is that amazing. I don't know if you've read about this, but they built this artificial intelligence. So you put something in like Amazonian rainforest woman.
Ah, yes, I have seen this all over the internet.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And it draws it. Couple of seconds. It takes a few minutes, and then it pops up with these images that it's pulled from nowhere.
Brilliant.
It's
This is months worth of content for us. So I've just
you could do this every week.
Yeah.
What are we going to enter into Crayon this week, Jimmy? I put Liz Truss in, and that came up with the scariest looking images I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it gave me nightmares that night.
Yeah,
I've got to be honest.
I can imagine. What do we put in? Any suggestions in the chat?
Yeah, come on, chat. What do you reckon?
I'm tempted to do something Queen based, but I don't know. Is that
Freddie Mercury?
Yeah.
Okay. The Queen's coronation. That's it. I wonder if it knows this. It'd be amazing if it does.
So it creates an image with AI.
It finds reference images.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where from.
Okay.
And then it creates these completely unique images by pulling them, like creating a montage and filling in the bits. Very clever. It does take about 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. But
ready? We're pressing the button.
Go for it. I mean, they might show you some dodgy adverts as well.
Nice.
There we go. You're gonna love this, mate. You could do this every week. Give us an AI question.
I'm spitballing the segment names and theme tunes and stuff.
It's going to be AI. What shall we draw today, lad?
There you go.
There you go. Have that one. And that one was on me. Jimmy will love it. He'll be because when he sometimes he gets Brian Blessed phoning in. That's a wanking machine, and he could come up. We could ask Brian for an AI suggestion.
Yes. Bloody hell.
Something from his thespian past.
Oh, amazing. Whilst that works away, forgive me, I've brought a question to the table as well. I thought, and this is a genuine question, a genuine conundrum that I have.
Okay.
It is Queen funeral based. Okay. It's a hold on.
Get rid of the fox. Get rid of click the X above the advert because it's taken up all screen. That's it. Get rid of that. Here he is. Here he is. Come on, move the screen down. We need to see more. Here it is. Look, Freddie Mercury looking like a Mexican wrestler.
Look at that one.
Look at this.
They're fused.
Wow.
Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth.
It has. What's it got to do with the coronation, though?
I know. It's like something from a Cronenberg body horror film.
Well, this is kind of what happened when I put Liz Truss in. They kind of get this melted face syndrome. If you click on them, they pop up. There you go. I'm not an elephant. I'm a human being, Mr. Trees. Do you think I'll ever be cured, Doctor?
That's an interesting.
Look at them thighs, though, mate. Look at that. Short of body, but great of leg. It's a beautiful thing.
That's Her Majesty.
That is very close. Very close to her. It's an amazing, gorgeous thing.
Yep.
You can see the fun you're going to have with this.
Oh, mate,
my favorite was puppies in hoodies, and that actually did a really good job. Puppies in hoodies look like real proper puppies with proper hoodies on, and they look nice. They were lovely. You could do goldfish in hoodies. That would be interesting.
My question, whilst that works, its magic was okay, and based on the Queen's impending funeral.
Yeah, bless her, and all that's sailing her.
Is this a good time to talk about that? I think it is.
Well, it is kind of irreverent, but it's your show, and that's never stopped you before.
No, I've got issues with the. I had great sympathy to start with when the news came out. I thought that's that's sad news. This
Passing of an era,
exactly.
and a historical figure. I
Hmm.
mean, as we said earlier, sadly, history does tend to be punctuated by kings and queens of England.
Mhm.
Everyone in the world had to look at them, mate. Come on, look.
Hold on.
That's what I'm talking about. That's one you
Oh,
could give to Benj. Look at
mm,
look at that little one down there. He's got a little puppy in his pocket. Look.
that's
Oh,
great.
ah.
That is great. Yeah,
You see? Oh,
fabulous.
look at that little fella. That one on the right looks like somebody from EastEnders, though. It's Grant Mitchell.
Mm. Actually, my
Who
brother looks like Grant Mitchell.
your
No,
brother
Phil
does.
Mitchell. Phil Mitchell.
Phil Mitchell. They went off and did all those amazing documentaries, but
No,
also
that was Grant.
married.
No,
Was
that
it?
was
Was
Grant.
it Grant? Phil was Phil's the one that's still in it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Grant's the one that went off and married Rebecca. What's her face of Rupert Murdoch fame, ultra right wing Daily Mail newspaper editor.
Oh,
Yeah, divorced.
oh,
And
I didn't know
then went round and kind of got in with the gangs in Brazil and all that stuff. which
Yes.
I love all that work. He
Mm.
did, actually, it's very good.
Ross Kemp.
Ross Kemp. That's
I was
the
struggling
very,
to remember his name, but
the
yeah.
very fella. So, which one does your brother look like?
The other one, Phil Mitchell,
Phil,
the
the
kind
older
of
one.
the reddish one. My brother's
Yes,
got like strawberry blonde hair.
yes. You could imagine. Yeah, he probably had a beard like Bjorn does in Rock
Yeah,
Players if he let it
yeah.
go. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell were we talking about? Oh yes,
The Queen. I haven't managed to successfully put you off. Keep going.
No, so I think we all did as a nation. We all had great sympathy for the family and the situation. She's lived for 96 years, given great
Amazing.
service to the country. But my sympathy has started to wane somewhat in the almost enforced mourning that we are being put through. Like the blanket coverage on TV.
It is blanket coverage.
Have you seen
No,
this TV schedule for Monday?
Mate, I did because I saw your tweet for the cinema. I have genuinely avoided live TV since the day, honest to God. So I have watched the same things as you, Game of Thrones and Ring of Power and Sea and so on. I've watched those things. And I'm really looking forward to the return of All Creatures Great and Small, which came back yesterday. But all the rest of it, it's the same churn from the same doth cap, lick forehead, all that stuff, over and over. And, I love The Crown like the next man. And I'm sympathetic to some of the stuff that she lived through. And I think as monarchs go, we were lucky because she did a good job as a monarch.
Conscious we're having this serious conversation with that picture there.
Could have been worse. Let's be honest. We could have left Freddie there with his tiara on.
Melted face.
Yeah, no. You don't want that. But do you know? There's been a lot of coverage on this, and I love listening. I don't know if you listen to James O'Brien on LBC.
I only catch his stuff that's on Twitter. To be honest, like the little nuggets that they post on Twitter.
Yeah.
Which are great.
They do a lot of that. Well, I listen to him every single day, but not live because it's a work day. But I listened that night to the podcast, and he's covered it a fair amount. Of course, you had the whole Centre Parks debacle.
Oh, that's crazy.
But there's bullying going on, particularly from the right-wing press. And people really don't. They want to show that they care and they're concerned for the family, and it's a historical moment in the passing of one monarch to another. It probably will happen again in our lifetime, to be fair, mate, but certainly for our grandparents or parents, it's possibly the last time, or they won't have remembered it the first time around because there are very few people around that can remember the first time. So I get all that. There's a significance to it. But in the UK, as you rightly said, and I know America has been fascinated by it as well.
Yeah.
And actually, the only live news that I've watched and read is CNN, which I love. I watch a lot of CNN, and they tend to cover a lot of the English news in a much more upfront and honest and open way than we get it in England. Again, right-wing press. And you push my button here, mate. But I think Monday we're traveling anyway. So as I've said, we're taking my daughter to Bournemouth on Sunday. Monday we'll be helping her move in, and then we'll be driving home. I won't need to listen to it. I will be putting on podcasts and just, I don't need to know. Look, I know how it goes. I know what's going to happen. The thing I would say, though, and I may be wrong about this, this is my personal opinion. I don't know, you may have been quite young at the time, but when Diana died, I feel like there was an absolute massive global outpouring of genuine grief. And for the Queen, I kind of don't get the same thing, but it feels like the elite want there to be the same, if not more than Diana.
Interesting point. Yeah.
And they're kind of pushing everything to say, come on, you've got to be like you were with Diana. Why are you not like that now? You know, and I think, well, there was a lady that went way before her time that represented the royal family prior to their more modernization that came after her death, where we now think of them as more of the people than we did then. And the Queen was 96 years old. Few of us ever get to that ripe old age. She did have an amazing life. She did meet amazing people, you know, and she's lived through some amazing events. So I don't see it as a mourning. I see it as a celebration. And I think that's the thing that the class, you know, the institution doesn't get. They want us all to be, they want to enforce sorrow, when actually people, if anything, are like, good on old Liz. She did a good job, bless her. She was 96. She had a good life. She, you know, we think she was anti-Brexit. I think she was, or, you know, pro-EU, all the good things in life. And, you know, 3 cheers for the King. I think that's what the public want. We're going to see that from Tuesday onwards, but I genuinely think that it's gone over the top largely through. Don't forget, the BBC is largely now controlled by the government. The right-wing press is the right-wing press. You know, the current government is being advised by nameless lobbyist groups that largely live in Tufton Street. So, you know, ultimately, that is the society that we've got. It will change, but it just happened to come along. I just think Johnson's gutted. He's gutted. He if this had happened a month ago, he'd have gone, no, there's no point in me leaving, is there? I've got to go through, you know, what's all that about then? You know, bless her. He's absolutely gutted. And it's like some people literally said, let's see this pint of milk. This pint of milk has seen 2 prime ministers and 2 monarchs.
It's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Turmoil Benjamin is seen in his short life is crazy, but
it's true.
Yeah, I'm completely, you know.
I came in for some stick on the day. We went live with Rock Players, and the next day it was a small cabal of people saying, "Oh, you know, where was your respect? What the hell are you doing?"
Really?
That was honestly, terrible. I just think that's awful. I said, look, you know, no disrespect. I respect your royalist beliefs, but I would also stream on Easter Day or Christmas Day because I have as much, you know, I'm as much a practicing Christian as I am a believer in all things monarch.
I'm with you. I'm with you. So, God, yeah. I mean, I've got issues with how, like you say, the media, the mainstream media, you know, the BBC and certain newspapers have kind of pushed this narrative
agenda.
an agenda of enforced
It is an agenda.
Mourning. You know, you see the TV schedules for Monday, and it's just plastered over every kind of almost every station, and to the point where Channel 5, bless them, have said, "Well, we're going to give an alternative." You know, there's going to be children who might necessarily want to see this, so we're going to throw on some children's films throughout the morning.
Oh, bless!
And now they're getting stick for doing that. I just don't understand.
It's sad. Honestly, mate. I mean, literally Monday, this country shuts down. You know, and I guarantee, if a shop's open, it'll be egged. There's just idiots out there. Oh, it will be. You 100%. You know, there are. They really are. Head the balls. They were given a free license from 2016 onwards, and they're still kicking around the place. You know, and bless them, in the States, they've got their own flavor, and it's from the same place, from the same heartfelt place. And it's such a shame because it felt to me, up to 2016, we'd made great social and cultural strides to this more utopian place that I always believed we'd live in as a kid. And we've actually slipped back now. We're getting closer to Victorian chimney sweep-esque, mothers having their kids ripped from their arms and shoved into school so they can go into the factory and keep the production lines going. Kind of feels like we're heading down that road again, and I find that very sad as a man, and heading into his retirement years.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And my question was going to be, and I think you've probably answered it. To be honest with you, mate, is as a father, I plan on taking Benjamin out for the morning. A man is dead set on wanting to watch it and make an occasion of it, which I'm happy with. I don't.
I mean, it's tough to talk to a kid about an uncle, an auntie, or a nanny passing.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's a completely abstract concept. A queen, someone who Benja's may, even if you show him a picture, he might, I don't know what but he might, I don't know who this is, some old lady with grey hair. And then to be told, well, you've got to celebrate her passing in this thing called a funeral. I mean, she's going to get buried, and it's going to be a really surreal experience for kids. Personally, I'll be saying, well, I'm taking you down the park, or we're going to go down the river.
Exactly. That's my thought.
Yeah, I would. I think, look, you know what, when he's 14, 15, 16, and he wants to look back on it as a historical time, I was alive back then, let's watch this whole documentary about it. That's a different thing altogether. And it's not like when I was a kid, when Neil Armstrong was about to set foot on the moon, and my dad said, "Come and watch this." My little 2-year-old, which I can't remember it at all. But that was something where you'd want your children to say, "I didn't really fully understand it, but I saw it." Nobody cares about the funeral of a celebrity.
Well, that's my counterpoint. Is am I doing him a disservice by not including him in that kind of historic moment?
Yeah, put it on DVD and give it to him in 10 years. I mean, I don't think so. No, I don't think it's going to be surreal. It's going to be abstract. He's going to have more questions than appreciation of what the day is about. I think and not just that, Stu. You think about what the world. I can only talk about this from my own experiences living in this country. But if you think about what we've been through over the last 6, 7, 8, 10 years, with Brexit and then with COVID, I mean, it's not been the greatest, happiest period, has it? No. Why are we piling it on ourselves? At some point you have to say enough. And I mean, again, I come in for stick because my shows are all about positivity. I don't do this normally, this kind of political, opinionated stuff.
I'm loving seeing this side of rock. It's great.
Well, I don't mind doing it on other people's shows, and if anybody wants to invite me to their show, I'm honestly, I love going on other people's shows. It's not a problem. But my stuff is about people feeling good, entertained, a break from the mundane and the humdrum. And I think that's. The problem is, on Monday, there is no escape from it unless you literally switch everything off.
Yeah.
And even then, you're going to be walking out and people are going to be looking at you. Why aren't you at home?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What are you doing out here? Honestly, yeah. You want to go out with them puppy hoods on.
But you know what? I think the plan was they wanted, this great moment for people to kind of celebrate and rejoice in the concept of the royal family. But I think, if anything, it's pushing.
I think they've hijacked it too. Look, knowing the little that I know, I did actually meet her once, and this is a true story. She once, Silver Jubilee, 1977, she came to Exeter, where I live, and my mum and dad owned back then the only self-service fruit and veg shop in Exeter, and for the royal banquet they bought their fruit and veg from my mum and dad's shop.
No way.
True story. But what I know of her, I'm absolutely convinced
loves a broccoli.
She loves a bit of collie, mate. No, I think she would feel all this was well over the top. I'm sure she hasn't laid it out because I know she did write a load of stuff about what she wanted, but I'm convinced she wouldn't have said, no, I want nobody to do anything. And if they don't show national mourning, then, you know, you've got to really come down hard on them. I just think it's sad. It's not what she would have wanted. I'm convinced of it. I don't think that was what she was.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, thank you for sharing your guidance there on what, you know, reaffirming the decision I've made to take Benj away from that to I'll just go to a park or something and get.
Do you know what? This could be a new feature, right? Yeah. Where Stu takes the role of Father Jimmy from maybe from the local parish, maybe the local, you know, I don't know, Catholic church, and you could be in doing a confession. So you confess to Jimmy, I'm Father Jimmy. I am concerned, Friar Jimmy. So take him up. I am concerned about what, you know, I've got this dilemma. I didn't let Benj watch the Queen's funeral, and I would like absolution. Yeah, and your you know, heavenly guidance. I think this could be a good feature, and it would keep the irreverence going week after week.
You're smashing it out with the content suggestions. And Jimmy does have a touch of the Catholic priest about him.
There you go. He could wear, the friar tuck thing and maybe a little bold thing on his head and stuff, and just really come of
touch
age,
being the probably appropriate word to use.
Yeah, age, mate, it's age.
Right. That was Ask Us Anything, where we tend to answer the world's questions, burning questions.
Yes.
Do I need to what? It's 8 o'clock. I'm thinking I might need to call an audible. What would you rather do? Do you want to do can the past make us laugh?
I'm happy to do everything, mate. I've got nowhere else to go. The wife doesn't give a stuff. I told you this just now.
Right. Well, for those new to the show, Can the Past Make Us Laugh is a segment close to Jimmy's heart where, you know, he has a comedic background, and, you know, we thought that looking back on some old British sitcoms would kind of bring back some memories for us, and indeed kind of shine a light on like some of the changes in British comedy as the years have gone on. Maybe some of the more questionable practices from comedy shows of yore. So yeah, we'll take a look at a clip from a classic British comedy show. So for all you Americans in the chat, stand by for some classic comedy in Can the Past Make Us Laugh? Here we are. Can the past make us laugh? Now, Rock in the Notes, you put a couple of suggestions for us, both of which I loved. Right. Being a fan of them both.
Yes. Well, there was one main suggestion. The other one was really was almost the sort of dark to the light of the first one. Yeah, I love them both. Like, they're old friends of mine, really. Yeah. Go on, mate. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm assuming On the Buses was on the darker side.
Come on, Blakey, get that bus out. Come on. Well, no. So the main one. Do you mind if I say what it was?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So the one that I wanted to, for the main one, the main meal, if you like, was Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads, which was Dick Clement and Ian LaFrenne, if I remember rightly.
Yep.
And just a beautiful observational comedy set in the Northeast, which is, I think it's set in Newcastle, but I may be wrong. Certainly up in that way. Terry Collier, there we go. I love this show. I watched this as a kid. Without a shadow of a doubt, most of it went over my head, but there was something about Terry. I think it was Terry, the young, the sort of the less ugly one, that he struck me in the heart. I don't know whether it's because when I was maybe younger, I had a friend that looked a bit like him, but I really loved this show. And the difference between this and On the Buses, which, firstly, this one was on BBC Two, which was, I think it later came to BBC One, but like a lot of shows, Steptoe and Son, they kind of started out on BBC Two before they migrated. But there was definitely a kind of more social acceptance, shall we say, to shows that were aired on the Beeb versus those on ITV, which even back then were more your sort of Sun readers versus maybe your Guardian. So the Likely Lads, situational stuff all around, living in post-war black and white initially when it came out, kind of post-war Northeast. Just after the 60s, I think it may have started late 60s and then went on into the early 70s. So it went from black and white to color. They even had a couple of movies, like they used to make really rubbish. Like Hammer made some really crap films out of these things. But it was just great fun and almost in the tradition that ultimately evolved to become Only Fools and Horses, in the sense that it was based around fairly simple people in fairly simple working class people, but there would always be a little twist at the end, which if you followed the plot carefully was always being built up. I mean, and Only Fools was just masterly at that. And the other one that did really well was One Foot in the Grave. I know I'm throwing too many of these in there, but On the Buses was so simple that they may as well have just written a script in chalk on the screen 2 minutes after it started, and you've seen the whole show. It would have been Stain, what have you done with me fish tank? Oh no, you stupid bear, I've got it sat in it. And that was basically the whole show, But we loved it as kids because it was schlap, it was stupid, it was corny, and it was usually on just before we went to bed. So it was, it's that kind of level, but completely different. But they did get a little bit, it was very sexist on the buses.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yes. I mean, Likely Lads kind of went there a little way, but they always ended up getting, slapped in the face or whatever, because their wives and originally their girlfriends, they were very much modern women of the late 60s, early 70s who wanted the women's rights and so on. On the buses, that's all right, lads, on the buses, here we go. Hey, look at them go. Different thing altogether. Yeah. Have you got a clip? I can see a black screen.
Well, I've bought What Happened to the Likely Lads to the table. I also love this show, Rock. I'm so glad you brought this up, because I watched this with my dad.
Me too.
He loves this. And, what I think is interesting about this is there was a series prior to this just called The Likely Lads.
Yeah.
And then this was a sequel series. Yeah. I don't know what the gap in the two shows was, but this. Yeah,
there was a couple of years, because I think the original one was the black and white one, which was late 60s. And then there was, maybe 70, 71. And then whatever happened to The Likely Lads, which I think came in color to BBC One. On the basis that it was a lot of people were saying, can we have it back, please? And to be fair, both actors, Rodney Bewes and the other one, James Bolam, were both really good actors.
Yeah.
And I think James Bolam, who went on to do some detective stuff, I think he always resented, as did also flip me, what was he called? Steptone's son. What was the younger?
Harry H. Corbett.
Harry H. Corbett, same deal. As did Kenneth Williams. These guys felt like the success they had in these comedy shows ended up boxing them in for the rest of their days. That no matter what they did, they were always going to be Terry, and that's the shame of it. But I do think they were great, and they were beautifully acted as well.
This scene that I've brought you, I mean, it's whatever happened to the Likely Lads is it's a series where the two friends have reunited after a period of time. I think Terry joins the army and goes to Germany.
He comes out. He's demobbed and goes back to stay with his buddy.
He does, and this
That's
scene.
Which one's Terry? Bob.
Terry is the guy that went to
the army.
Yeah,
that's right. And his mate Bob is the one that didn't, and he never really rose. He looked at Terry as the kind of lad about town that he wished he'd always been,
and Bob is always kind of looking, in terms of societal status, to kind of reach for the next level above him, maybe like delusions of grandeur almost. But, this scene that I'm going to bring to you is Terry conveying his worldview at the time, which is very 70s. And I think, sadly, probably reflects a lot of the world views of many people today.
Right.
So to kind of look at it through that lens. But it's a great scene, and you eventually end up seeing the absurdity of Terry's worldview. But
that's how it went. It was clever.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Sorry. I need to. I always want to click the screen on the melon.
Yeah, well, you're seeing it. I was going to do it for you.
I'm learning a lot about you today. I bet we could go right round the world and you'd have a pat response ready. I've travelled, man. I've seen a bit of the world now, you know. What do you think of Koreans, for instance? Not to be trusted. Cruel people. Much the same as all Orientals. That's a third of the world's population dismissed in a phrase. Russians? Sinister. Egyptians? Cowardly. Oh, I thought you might have saved that for Italians. No. They're greasy, aren't they? Not as greasy as the French, mind. Germans? Arrogant. Spaniards? Lazy. Danes? Pornographic. Well, that's just about everyone. Oh, Americans. Well, they're flash, aren't they? So it's just down to the British, is it? Well, I haven't got much time for the Irish or the Welsh. And the Scots are worse than the Koreans. And you never could stand Southerners. To tell you the truth, I don't like anybody much outside this town. There's a lot of families in our street I can't stand either. Come to think of it, I don't even like the people next door. I see. So, from the distant blue Pacific, through the barren wastes of Manchuria, to 127 Inkerman Terrace, you can't abide anyone. How you came to marry a German girl, I'll never know. The failure of my marriage only goes to prove my point. Them and us don't mix. England should take heed of the failure of my entry into Europe. God didn't make this country an island by accident, you know. I see. So to sum up, the British are come under a crisis, the rest of the world is unstable, and all hairdressers are fairies. Except Tommy Mossop. Oh, except Tommy Mossop.
Do you know what I mean? It's so pertinent to say.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's so ridiculous because his worldview just gets more narrow and narrow.
But what's interesting, Stu, is that what his worldview is based on was World War II, as was the case in the 60s. And of course, now, Terry and Bob, if they were alive today, they would have been the kind of people, actually maybe a little bit young, a little bit old, but that generation, the boomer generation, who actually were the first to be able to afford to buy their own houses, and now it's actually quite hard to do. So they had, they had the best time versus now. So they're the ones that voted to come out, and I'm talking Brexit, but their worldview was shaped by what happened immediately before they were born, by what their parents had said. Don't trust the Italians. They were, they shimmied up with Hitler. Don't trust the Germans. Look what they did twice. And whereas the rest of us, we kind of evolved and got to know that actually, and particularly this medium that we play with, that actually we get on really well with everybody if we just bother to stop and talk and realize that. But that's what's echoed here. He's just come out of the army, not because he was in the war, but it's just I think national service is in this case. But he's basically talking about what he would have heard from his parents, because of what happened in Japan or Korea during the war, what happened in with Italians and so on. So it's interesting, isn't it? And this was, of course, this one was just after, I believe, the original, when we originally went in to the EEC. So 1972, I believe that was. So that was still a hot topic as well. You still had those that said, no, we don't want to be doing it, and others that did, so it'd be a good idea. So that's kind of why he's saying there about, you Europeans don't know what you got by getting me in, that kind of thing. It's that kind. But yeah, good. And again, it's that social commentary done with comedy that made the series stand out.
Really clever, and
beautifully written and really well acted. I mean, the banter there with no script, that would have been done as in as few takes as possible, and they literally would have had to have learnt that the week before or a couple of weeks before, get it right, because they didn't have reels. It may even have been in front of a proper studio audience in those days as well.
Yeah, actually, I've always found it quite fascinating that as an island nation, we culturally we've just had this fear handed down to us of the outsider, whether it's Europe, the Germans, I don't know, the Americans, the Irish, the Scots. As English people, we very much fear the unknown and the outsider. And
I'm sure I'm sure we're not alone. I'm sure. I mean, we just don't happen to have. There's a load of sea around us and all the other countries. But if you live in France, of course, you've got Spain to one side. You've got Holland and Belgium and Germany and so on. And if you're in Germany, you've got all the Switzerland, Austria. So now they live cheek by jowl with their neighbours, but there's a hate thing with everybody's neighbour.
Yeah,
if you talk to a Latvian, will say he hates Lithuanians, or a Lithuanian will say he hates Poles. I mean, that's humans. It's territoriality, isn't it?
We're horrible, aren't we?
Imagine the world without us, or maybe just you and me, Stu. We'd be all right, maybe, but the rest of them, nah.
So guys, that was whatever happened to the Likely Lads. I highly recommend it if you can check out. I think there's probably some episodes on YouTube. We'll probably get a copyright strike from the BBC for this, but it was worth it, damn it.
Yeah, blow them.
There we go.
They're too busy mourning, mate. They're not watching.
That's a good point. Yeah, we slip under the radar. They got bigger fish to fry.
Exactly.
Okay, well, it's that part of the show where we take a look at the latest trailer in Hot Takes. So after listening, I've got a kind of something outside the box for you, Rock.
Nice.
Nearly called you Jimmy. I'm so used to calling.
That's all right. I don't mind.
Jimmy.
Yeah, it's an honour.
Let's have a look. Humble, welcome, Humble. Ireland is also an island unconnected to mainland Europe, but somehow they seem fine to be in the EU. Yeah,
well, half of them do. Actually, that's not true. He's right. Northern Ireland wanted to stay in as well. It's like, they actually did vote to stay in, but unfortunately, their vote counted with the rest of the UK. And even then, it's an argument as to whether that was legitimately counted. But we are where we are, sadly. They did. Scotland did as well. Yeah, totally agree.
Right, so we will take a look at the latest trailers in Hot Takes.
Love this bit. Love it.
Welcome to Hot Takes. That's not Hot Takes. That's whatever happened to the Likely Lads.
Hot tacos.
Yes. Welcome. This is our weekly segment where we take a look at the latest cinematic trailers. My name's Stuart of the Renaissance Men. Special guest here with us is Rock of many rock-based channels.
I've grown hair since my wrestling days, if you're wondering.
Can you smell what he is cooking?
Yeah. Oh yes.
So Rock, this is a part of the show where, like I say, we take a look at the latest cinematic trailers and give our initial reactions to them.
Love this bit.
It's the latest thing on the internet. It's to react to stuff.
Yeah. I love
and
it.
This week I've brought to you it's a trailer for a TV show, an Amazon Prime TV show that's starting, I think, in mid-October. I want to say 21st of October. And it's called The Peripheral.
Ooh.
Don't know if you've heard about this, but it's
is it sponsored by Love Honey or
no? The blurb is set in the future when technology has subtly altered society. A woman discovers a secret connection to an alternate reality, as well as a dark future of her own. Ooh. Mysterious. Yeah. And this stars Chloe Grace Moretz in the titular role, not the titular role, but in the main role as Flynn Fisher. And I love Chloe Grace Moretz. Do you know Chloe Grace Moretz?
Could you? What has she been in? Mate, I can't remember the Hoff's name. You know what I'm like. I do know. This is the thing that I hold you guys in such high esteem, because you knock these names backwards and forwards, these films, and I'm like, I know all of this, but I can't recall it. It's terrible.
So she was most famously in, I would say, Kick-Ass. Do you know the Kick-Ass?
Okay, yeah, written by Jonathan Ross's wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was Hit Girl in Kick-Ass, the girl superhero. Ooh. She was also in the remake of Carrie.
Didn't see that. Wasn't so good, was it?
No, I don't think it was. She's in the Tom and Jerry film, which I strangely quite like.
Oh, really? Is it good?
It's all right.
Are they little cartoon fellas, or are they?
Yes, they are. It's cartoon. It's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit. Yeah.
Like cartoon creations in a
love it
real world.
Because I wish they'd done that with that Scooby-Doo thing, rather than that stupid flipping piece of CGI rubbish that didn't even look like Scooby-Doo. Terrible.
What else has she been in? Just kind of going through her IMDb. Anything? Muppets Most Wanted. She's in that. Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much
Her name, sorry?
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh.
Yeah, she's a great actress. She's very good.
And she's the main. Is she the lead then? Is she?
She is. She's
okay.
the lead in this science fiction based TV show. Sorry, I should bring up the trailer.
Nice.
Let's key up the trailer. It's got. I think it's got the air of like Amazon Prime's next big like production, if you like. Obviously, they've got Lord of the Rings at the moment.
Stranger Things. No, that's Netflix. Prime have been really upping their game. That Lord of the Rings. You said it. You guys said it yourselves. I mean, each episode is cinematic in scope. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Okay. Let's key this up. Okay. So here we go. And
Westworld.
From the mind-bending creators of
Westworld.
And I know you love Westworld.
I do love Westworld.
That's why I brought this to you. This is specific. This is for you, Rock.
Yeah.
This is for you. Right. So this is Peripheral, the season 1 teaser trailer. Let me just roll it back and let's react. Okay.
Glenn Fisher, your skills and personality are being sadly wasted in this den of imbecility.
Like it or not, this here's the only world that I got. What is that?
The future.
Just give me that.
I promise not to tell anyone. But you almost look happy.
Holy shit.
You're inside what we call a peripheral.
What do you mean?
You think this is a game, but it's real. It just hasn't happened yet.
October 21st. That looks pretty good to me. I don't know what you think.
That looks so far up my street, my friend.
Mm.
What I love, the sci-fi that I love is where they reimagine stuff and they try different things. And there were loads of influences in there as well. I
Yeah.
don't know if you had loads. I mean, Control the Game was in there. What was the film where they kind of go through layers and layers of reality? It's got
Inception?
yeah, I kind of felt that was going on in there a little bit. There was even some quantum leap. She's kind of putting her hat on and she goes to another space. Yeah, I really love the look of this. Ready Player One. I think it's dripping in.
Matrix looks visually very good, very interesting.
Very
isn't
good. Yeah. That when they went into the future world, the only thing that didn't kind of work were those giant statues. They literally look like somebody plonked some photos in there. But I'll wait and see, because when it's big screen and in situ and everything, it may work more differently. But no, I love the look of this. Yeah, mate, good choice. This is definitely one for me.
I thought so. I thought that'd be right up Rock Street. Yeah, like I said, Chloe Grace Moretz is a great actress, and I think that's usually one of the stumbling blocks for me, is if they've got like a no-name actor in for the role.
She has an intelligent face. I love that. I'm just that. I'm being serious. That's still, honestly, some actors, they look like they don't even know what time of the week it is. But there's intelligence in that face, and that goes a long way for me to be convinced. It did have a Stranger Things thing. It kind of almost had a bit of Blade Runner as
Yeah,
well.
Vangelis, didn't it? Had a
Yeah,
little bit of a
definitely
touch of
that
that.
kind of Vangelis thing going on. And yeah, no, that's a good one. I hope they do the whole homage to other sci-fi. Even the guy in the car with the face. What was the Schwarzenegger one? Where he's on Mars and there's those taxi
Oh yeah,
drivers.
Total Recall. That's
Total
exactly
Recall.
that's what I was thinking. Like the
Yeah.
android driving the
Yeah,
taxi.
yeah. So there's. I think you're going to be able to watch this and go Total Recall, Inception. Blah, 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 blah. I think that'll be good.
Visually looks great, very
Does.
interesting. A kind of that concept of putting on a headset and maybe leading an alternate life, going into a Matrix type.
Yeah, and
situation.
do you, or is it just your mind is being altered into a state? And I'm guessing that's going to be the premise to begin with. When I put this hat on, is it just that my brain waves are being manipulated so that I'm in some other kind of alternative reality, or am I genuinely there? I could imagine that's the premise. And as the series unfolds, you'll find out more. Even the early scenes where she's on her bike and stuff, and they've got the drone pulls back, and you've got that gorgeous countryside, all that beautiful, absolutely, and that top notch, very good. I'm definitely going to be watching this one, my friend. Great choice, thank you.
Thank you. No, that's the Peripheral that launches on
Love
Amazon
it.
Prime on October. It was 21st, wasn't it? October 21st.
October 21. Yep.
There we go.
Yes.
There we go. That was this week's Hot
Awesome.
Takes. A good one, I think. One that we can add to the list of shows that we'll probably cover on the Renaissance Men podcast. So, yeah, there we go.
That was great. Thank you. Love that. That's my favorite part of the show, actually. This is how I'm so honored.
Do you know, Hot Takes does get most of our views, to be honest.
Does it? Yeah. Well, this whole thing, isn't it? And and also it's good because this is something coming up. Yeah. So to get to see it, my girls love the one that you did of Wednesday. And they love that, and they loved your thoughts afterwards and stuff as well. And that looks so good. That's coming up soon, isn't it, Stu?
Wednesday. Yes, I reckon that's going to be an October thing as well. It makes sense for that to be
Halloween. Yeah.
So there we go. That was this week's Hot Takes.
Brilliant.
Okay, back to the show now. Rock. I really need a wee, and I don't have any.
Funny enough, me too.
We don't have any be right back screens, so I don't know what we do. What do we do?
I kind of need one too, though, mate. Okay.
Well, let's take a toilet break. I'm sure the audience won't mind.
Yeah.
We'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay. Well, a couple of minutes, 30 seconds.
I'm an old man. It doesn't take long.
Okay. Audience, stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay.
Don't go anywhere.
I'm busting. I'm back. Whew. Do you know what? It's because I'm drinking a beer. My bladder isn't what it used to be. When you hit your 40s, these things happen. Let's take a look at the chat. Maurice was here. Welcome, Humble, to the chat. Welcome to Mostly Martinez, as always. Who else we got in the chat? Let's say hello. Cloud Gaming Dad. Joe, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Who else have we got? Thank you for joining us. If you do want to, please do like and subscribe to the show. I'm having a lovely time chatting to Rock. So, 'cause I was going to say, I'm 40 years old. 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 40 years old Rock will understand. Okay. I'll repeat that to him when he comes back. Maurice was here. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so when we get into the Week in Geek, which is our next segment, we've got a fair few bits to talk about. Basically, that's the segment where we all talk about what we've been watching, playing, and any like news items that have caught our eye throughout the week. So yeah, there we go. We've got some Star Trek news, some gaming news. I thought I should bring some gaming stuff to the table as Rock is here. There he is. That's better. Oh, and he's brought his Peaky Blinders with him. You really are taking the Jimmy.
I had to take the Muppet. I'd take the Whippet out for a walk as well.
Do you know what I'm going to do this weekend is create a Be Right Back video that I can just.
That was good. But what you don't realise, mate, is there's an old content creators adage, and that is if you drink beer while you stream, won't be long before you're streaming beer. I mean, that's the way it goes, you know. But what you won't realise is, mate, that while you were gone, I did it live on air, and the folk enjoyed it, I'm sure. Doesn't happen often. It's good.
Humble wanted me to say that Maurice was here. What does that mean?
Ninja Guy X, was he? Bless him.
Oh, was he?
Oh, he came in and we weren't here. Dag nabbit.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It's I'm having a great time. Thank you, Rob, for joining us.
Peaky Blinders, he's right.
Peaky Blinders.
And they did a kind of. I actually bought this in Scotland, you know. We were up. Was it year before last? No, last year we went up to the Highlands, and I just kind of thought. I thought, you know, I need to wear something kind of that was befitting of the environment. So I bought this. I haven't really worn it since. But I do like it. Yeah. Well, no, because they do, you know, it's Scottish gents and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, like Prince King Charles, you know, you often see him wearing one of these.
You do, yeah.
Scottish.
That's not a hallmark of quality, though, Rock, to be honest.
Oh, no, I don't know. It cost me a few quid. You got PG Field Heritage.
Is it moleskin or something?
Yeah, I think it's proper. It's probably made from the skin of an Englishman, to be honest.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
Matted hair of an Englishman.
Yes.
We honeymooned in Edinburgh. It's absolutely.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
I love Edinburgh.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. Beautiful city. Yeah.
Right, Rock, my friend. It is time that we take a look back in the Week in Geek to discuss what we've been watching, playing, and some of the news items that have caught our eye that are non-cloud gaming based. Again, giving you a break from all of that shenanigans. So, this is the Week in Geek. Here we go. The Week in Geek. Oh, let's get rid of.
Do they have music in your normal show? These things
are they not?
There's been no music for the entire show because I've been watching it on YouTube as well, and I'm not hearing it.
Really? Oh, okay.
But it might just be me. I don't know. It
has happened before.
I'm sure it's just me. Honestly, I think it is because I've just noticed I can't hear, and I've got volume on over there as well. So it's more aiming me. Yeah.
Good. Right, Rock. I'm going to start with you. You're my guest. So
yeah.
I want to find out what you've been playing this week or watching. What have you been? What do you want to bring to the table?
Mate. Well, I've certainly not been watching live news on purpose. So, I mean, you know, we share similar tastes. Today, for example, I watched the latest Ring of Power.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's Friday.
No spoilers, mate. No spoilers. But I'm loving it. Now, I've got full disclosure. I'm not a flipping gamer. What's it called? J.R. Tolkien and J.R. Hartley, whatever his name is. I'm not massive into the whole fantasy stuff, but I am loving this new series. I did enjoy the Peter Jackson movies. You know, I mean, who can't shed a tear when the little fellas and saying goodbye to
the little fellas.
The little fellas, what are they with the big feet? Samwise Ganges and all his
Okay,
mates are like, we're going to miss you, Mr. Frodo. I mean, who can't shed a tear with all that going on, right? But I'm loving this new thing. And today was great. They're starting to unravel. There's new characters that have been introduced, apparently. I had to Google it. What are we watching? A new trailer? Oh, yes. Here we are. We're in the palace.
Just a visual flair.
It's very good, mate. I'm impressed. It's a direction. So it's been a lot of that and amazing production value as well. I've been watching it on my Shield. Although I've got Sky like you do with all of this, you don't get the whole HDR 3D Dolby Vision stuff. So I flip it over to Shield or Google TV and watch it there. It's gorgeous. So I've been watching that. Also, of course, House of Dragon, which I think you may have got coming out. Another Sue flipping pub. I loved Game of Thrones, but I've always struggled with the problem I had with it was I never read the books, Fire and Ice and all that malarkey, and they went all over the place. The Game of Thrones, this family feud there, and there was a death of a banquet going on here and stuff, and towards the end I started to kind of struggle a bit. But this new series, what I love is that they've been focusing very much on some key characters, and it's much easier for my little brain to keep track, particularly when they've all got stupid names.
It's funny you say that, because I too have been watching House of the Dragon, and up to date, obviously, for the latest episode this week, which was a bit steamy. Let's be honest.
Yes, it was a sexy episode. I agree.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah, Game of Thrones does have a reputation of
this was particularly sexy, but on purpose, because it was meant to be the whole sort of seduction and so on. But yes, it did get the old trousers inflating.
Okay. Well, okay.
Look, did I say that out loud? Sorry, I do that from time to time. It's age.
But no, the point I'm going to move swiftly on. The point I was going to make was that it was, yeah, you're right. I fell out of love with Game of Thrones because when the story did get a bit too convoluted and used place names and family names and clan and house names that it was very an interwoven story, but. Yeah. With this, it's mostly just
very
the
simple
Targaryen house.
So much easier.
The civil politics that's going on in there, and it's for layman's like us. I think it's just a lot easier to understand.
Uncle niece action, nothing wrong with that, Martinez. It almost happened. Let's be honest. No, well, not in real life. Sorry, in the program.
Okay.
Definitely not. Oops. But no, you're right. I think that's the thing that's really appealed for me. They've kept the music, which is great stuff.
Yep.
Obviously, it's all new characters because it's so many years prior, 180 years or something before Game of Thrones.
Steamy action on screen.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I don't know though. You know what? She looks like. To me, she looks like someone who's quite pretty when she's young, but she grows up right ugly old wench. It's I don't mean to be I don't mean I know I don't want to be I don't want to be objectivizing, but it's just how I feel. She looks very Icelandic as well, almost Björk looking, I think.
Yeah.
But she's about to change. They're about to give the grown-up actress in place, aren't they?
Are they? Oh,
yeah. There's a few of the younger characters. They skip forward a few years and they become new actors, like they do in The Crown, I guess. No, I love it. Absolutely love it. So the highlight of my week is that one. Obviously, the Power of the Ring, and then a show on Disney, which I don't think you've got, have you, mate? Oh no, you do have. No, it's not on Disney. It's not on Disney. I take it back. On Apple.
No,
you don't have. No,
TV
Apple
Plus,
TV.
no.
They have occasionally very good shows on there. Blackbird. I thought you guys were watching Blackbird.
Do you mean
No, I tell you what, I'm thinking of Mark Kermode and Simon Mayo. That's what I'm thinking of.
well,
Because you do remind me of them. No, you're like the poor man's version of like the pound shop version of Kermode and Mayo. No offense. None taken. I just wondering what the hell's going on with my hair. I wish I hadn't put that cap on now. I'm going to need some more product. Look at this, it's terrible. Where did I get to?
Man.
Yeah. That's right, on Apple. It's called CSEE. It's written by Steve Knight, who actually wrote Peaky Blinders, I believe.
Okay.
And
It's Jason Momoa thing, yeah?
yes, not a massive fan of him, but the show is great. The premise is there's some kind of a virus. Ironically, it did come out before COVID, I have to say, where everybody is blinded, or at least their children are born blind. Anyway, they're all blind in the future. It's you know, apocalyptic dystopian future. Nobody can see, but 1 or 2 people are born able to see. So you can imagine the power that they can potentially yield in a world of literally in a world of blind people. They say, you know, the one-eyed man is king. So so the whole premise is based around that. It's really clever. So they have these kind of clan, it's very tribalist sort of clan living, gone back to, you know, bottom of Maslow's, as it were. And so you've got them all fighting, but of course they're blind, so they have to invent ways to hear the army, and they kind of, how many of them are there coming at us and stuff. And brilliant, really well done, great.
That
great
sounds
show.
really interesting. So does Jason Momoa, is he playing a blind character?
Yes, he plays.
How convincing is he? Because that's tough.
Actually, I think he's better than when he was a merman, to be honest. But he was also in Game of Thrones. He was in Game of Thrones as well, wasn't he?
He was just stared blankly off in the distance.
He didn't do he did very little in it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's actually pretty good in this. I'll give him his due. He plays Boba Voss. I think that's the name of the character. Who is, you know, he's a legendary warrior. Marries a princess who has birthed two seeing children.
Yeah,
and they kind of you know, try and keep it, because anyone that can see has been considered and deemed a witch by the ruling queen, and they have witch finders that go out looking for these seeing people because they know that will be their demise. But I think we're on the 3rd and final season. Now, I don't know with Apple, because they've had some great shows. The Morning Show, which is a great show with Jennifer Aniston in.
That's interesting. So I've heard nothing but like negative feedback when that first came.
Yeah, I love it. Me and the wife love that one, mate.
Really?
That's brilliant. Yeah. It's got Steve Carell in it as well. He's absolutely superb. Straight role, very straight role, about a TV presenter, morning show presenter, who is accused of being, you know, it's in the kind of Me Too era. So he's accused of being really sexist, and stuff comes out from various co-hosts that say that he coerced them into bed and stuff. And he ends up, I won't give it away, but he ends up in a pretty bad way. Great show. That's a really good show. They've got that. They had Blackbird, which I watched recently, which was amazing. Their stuff is super highbrow, as you would expect from Apple, I think. You know, that's their niche, and to be honest, you know, some of their stuff I've not been interested in, but there've been some great stuff. There's been one with a bizarre, oh crikey, I'm so annoyed at myself, because you would know the writer and director. He's very, very famous. I think he's Japanese, and my daughter and I love this show. It's a really weird horror type show, which has got one word for the name and I've forgotten it. And she is like a nanny who is drafted in to look after a TV presenter's child, funnily enough. But the TV presenter's child actually died. She left it in the car and it died in the heat as a baby, but she blanked it out of her head, and so they put in an amazing looking dummy, which she has just convinced herself is her real baby. They get this nanny come to live with them, and blow me, this dummy becomes a real child, and it's a really, it sounds crap, it's a really brilliant. And I tell you who's in it. Flip me, the ginger fella from Harry Potter. Yes,
Ron Weasley, but what's his real name?
Yeah, Grint or something.
Rupert Grint.
Right, he is amazing in this show. He's like the comedy. He's like the comic relief, and he's The Servant is exactly what it's called. Thank you, Martinez. It's an amazing show. I know I rely on everybody. My chat are brilliant. I rely on them and my co-host. The Servant, it's called. Can you look up and see?
M. Night Shyamalan.
There you go. That's the fella.
Mm.
It is brilliant, and it's bizarre. It is really, truly bizarre, but it is massively compelling viewing, beautifully filmed, really well acted.
Interesting stuff, mate.
Spooky stuff. So they've got these little oases of great shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I would actually say to people, yeah, there is a load of people who say, oh, don't get it, it's rubbish Apple TV. You've got to be selective. It's like anything. You know, I mean, I can go for a day looking around Netflix and find crud, and then you find a real gem.
Yeah, I'm with you. Netflix
Apple's is yeah,
pretty poor at the moment.
Well, they've only got themselves to blame, mate, because they've gone after the youngsters. That's what they've tried to do, and unfortunately for them, what they've forgotten, and most of them ain't watching a lot of TV anymore.
Mm.
But no, Apple is so yeah. There's some that kind of quality stuff on there. So see, Ring of Thing. And game of what's its, and that's kind of what's that's the output for me in a week. And of course, coming up from yesterday, All Creatures Great and Small, which is my little guilty pleasure. I love it. Oh, and Bake Off started again as well. Me and the wife love a bit of Bake Off.
Do you know, I fell off Bake Off I think before it moved to Channel 4. I kind of fell off. There was no reason. I mean, I wasn't like a backlash. I wasn't saying I'm not watching this again because it's going to Channel 4.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, just kind of transitioned out to...
See, Martinez has brought Ted Lasso up, which is, again, it's an Apple show. I watched the first season, Martinez, and I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It's basically, Stu, you'd love it, mate.
I think I would like this. I've heard
you would love it. Yeah, it's great. You know, it's an English football team doing crap. They're desperate for a new coach, and somehow they get this American guy, and he's brilliantly acted. He's won shed loads of awards. From the second season on, I couldn't get into it, but I loved the first season. So for me, it was that one season I loved it, and I'll always have it dear to my heart. But moving on from there, I just it kind of went a bit kitsch for me. But there's some good stuff on there. There really is. It's worth it. I tell you what, you're an iPhone user, aren't you?
No, I'm Android. But I do. Funny enough, I do because I'm with EE. I get a
Samsung.
Yes, I do. I think I get like a free 6 months of Apple TV. So perhaps I should give it a go.
I would definitely do that because you can. All of their stuff's quite short, so
rinse through it all.
You honestly, genuinely, you could do it in a month. See, I mean, there's they only do like 5-6 episodes per season of most of their stuff, and The Servant's quite short. They're only about 35-40 minutes an episode.
Yeah.
So that you definitely watch that one. Morning show, I don't know. I love it, but it may not be for you. Definitely Servant, Blackbird, amazing show. A psycho drama thing, brilliant.
Oh, nice. I do love a good thriller. Amanda does too.
Blackbird's based on a true story, and you know how they say this is based on a true story. On this one, it's like, you know, it says something like influenced by true events. So I said to the wife, basically, then they read a line in the paper. When the series had finished, as I do, I Wikipedia'd and IMDb'd. It turned out it was virtually identical to the true story. The guys themselves were identical to the real people. It's basically very, very, very simple premise. There's this mass murderer, right? I mean, he's a serial killer. At the end, we find out that he probably killed the thick end of 80 young girls. And he's in a maximum security prison, but they can't get him to confess to where he left the bodies. And in truth, he would sort of confess to the murders, and they would say, yeah, but he's a serial confessor. So they put him away for some stuff, and they said to this other guy who was this ex-jock, American football star, got into gun running and drug dealing, and he was a good-looking guy, man about town, flashed it about, got caught. He went to prison for some 70 years or something, and they said to him, you know, you've got this amazing charisma and ego, which is just like this guy's brother. because they were twins, but he's an absolute weird looking guy and his brother's like you. So we want you to go into this, and you, mate. Yeah, for sure. No questions. We're going to put you in prison. You need to befriend this guy and find out how and where he murdered those women. Of course, he goes in with this literal, meathead ego. And then he goes through this process of being beaten down mentally by being in this place. And he has a complete turnabout of character. Beautifully done, very gripping. The interaction with the feds and the characters outside, still desperately trying to find where these women were buried, but not getting supported. It's brilliant, and this is a great show too, says Martinez. Definitely one to watch. Blackbird. It's only about four or five episodes on there, but it turns out that it's absolutely identical. Even the actors look exactly the same as the actual characters did.
That's interesting. Yeah,
very good.
Do you know what? I need to go and give this a sub. $4.99 a month. Is that all it is?
It's cheap, but if you can get
a remarkably good deal,
mate, get it for 6 months. Put down your 30 quid for 6 months. If you can't get it for free, honestly, you'll all that I've just mentioned, you will easily get through it. But it's ultra high quality drama. It's really, really good stuff. And there's still tons on there that I've yet to see. Oh, and they've got, Stu, Benj will love this. They have got the best ever dinosaur recreations ever. And it's our good friend. It's David Attenborough. So he does the CGI on these dinosaurs. If you want to put up a trailer, it's the best quality video I've ever seen. It looks real. If you just put Apple prehistoric dinosaurs, you'll get a trailer up on. And honestly, you'll look at it and go, "My flip me, they look like real creatures." Benj will love it. What 5-year-old? What? Prehistoric Planet? Yeah, that's the fella. Oh, come on, okay. Pop it up, mate. Show the folks at home.
We've got it.
Here you go. 23rd of April it came on. You watch this.
Yeah, he does. He's kind of got back into his dinos.
You'll love this because these are too real. Yeah. You will watch. I mean, that's shit. But honestly, when you
not sold so far.
No, I know that was. Come on, David. I've just hyped you right up.
That does. It's a step above Walking with Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that.
I know. It's honestly, it's brilliant. Look at this.
Is that T-Rex swimming?
Yeah, they did. T-Rex apparently loved it. Speedos and everything. No. Yeah.
The Duncan Goodhue of dinos.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knew? This does look good.
They had it on every night for 5 nights when it came out in April. So it's 5 nights. It's a 5 show thing. But yeah, it's beautifully done. Really gorgeous. Look at this.
That's the thing with Apple. They do have a there's almost like an Apple seal of quality. You used to get it with Nintendo, didn't you, back in the 80s and 90s? That there's a seal of quality to their stuff they put out. I think
like Disney, truthfully, I mean, they have a brand to maintain. They cannot put tat out there. But I think we're starting to see that now with Amazon as well. I think, initially they weren't putting a lot of money into their stuff and it was okay. Having said that, I loved Outlander, and it's a real shame that Outlander's now gone to Star. So you have to subscribe to that to watch it. But
that does look stunning.
Yeah, honestly, mate, you and Benj can watch this together. Like you and your dad watch the Lightly Lads, and he'll remember it forever.
Terry T-Rex Collier.
You'll love it, mate. Honestly, you will. Go on, there you go. 5 quid sold to the man in black.
Happy days. There we go.
Yes.
Apple TV Plus. Yep. I'm game. So anything else, mate, that you want to bring to the table?
On telly that I've watched. I haven't watched much. Whatever. That was it on the old TV. Games wise,
You've been a busy boy, as always.
Yeah. But there is a game that I've played today that I'm not allowed to mention, sadly. I'm under NDA.
Are you?
Yes, but it is. It's coming out imminently, and I have to say, I've got it until Monday, and I've played about 40 minutes, and I'm hooked. So I can't wait to get back into that, and get my head into that. That'll be good. Once I'm out of NDA, I'll tell you all about it. It's really good fun.
Is it going to pop up on stream at some point?
It's coming to Stadia.
Oh, I love a game coming to Stadia.
Say no more. So yes, but apart from that, I've played two games really this week. I did try and play the game that you've been falling in love with, Dizzly Dreamlight Valley.
I saw this on Twitter.
I tried and I loved it, but I can't play it because I let my daughter play it, and she'd set up a character. And you can't do multiple characters once you've created them. So, no, you can't. I even tried installing it to my PC. In fact, the only way I did get to play it in the end was I installed it to my Xbox, and then I disconnected it from the internet.
That's great.
So I was able to play it for a couple of hours, but then I had to delete it because I didn't want to overwrite her scores. But that was good, But
I love that game.
Everybody loves it. Everybody that's played it loves it, and I'm like me. I'm the actual only one around in my family that's a gamer, and I can't play it. Broken Pieces and Steel Rising. I actually bought these two games after we did Rock Players last week. Two completely different games. Steel Rising. Out of the two, Broken Pieces has probably rate it higher.
Okay.
Steel Rising is pretty much you are a mannequin in a world set in time of the French Revolution, bizarrely in Paris. Automata. We've kind of their technology somehow managed to create these living, walking, breathing automata, and you just go around defeating them. And it's okay. But it is a little repetitive. And the worst of it is, Stu, if you play it in the way the developers... Oh, look, there's me. I thought we tuned into Planet of the Apes. And there I was playing the role of Galen on TV, Cornelius in the movies.
We're going into that AI picture thing again.
I know. I'm under her arm. Look at this. So she is Alicia. I think she's called Alicia. She's my mannequin. You get to choose there. It looks beautiful, and but if you play it in the way that the devs wanted you to play it, it's actually a roguelike and impossible to play. So this stream, I didn't realize that. So I played this stream in the way that the devs intended. So I was getting killed all the time. When you die, you lose all your progress and you go back to the beginning. And I hate that in a game. And then I discovered that there's a little secret God mode hidden away in the settings. So now I am invincible and I'm making my way through the game. But even having said that, I've been playing it now since last week every day, and I still haven't completed it. So I think, but it's an interesting game. It's a French studio. I think it's their first game. I think they're called Elsewhere Studios. And I tell you what, because I'm playing it on GeForce now, I've got it 4K 60, and actually I've toned down the graphics. Typically, I can push any game up to ultra setting and it looks amazing and it works. This one, I needed to bring it down to normal to get the proper 60 FPS, but it still looks great. But the other game, Broken Pieces, which funnily enough I also did stream as well, is more like your sort of true, what's that, not True Colors, what's that thing called on Stadia? True Life, I don't know.
Life is Strange?
Life is Strange. It's that kind of a thing where it's kind of more of a narrative, more of a story. And look at there's Brian the Alien there. It's my little brand for this channel, Brian the Alien. There he is. So basically with this one, it's or is this the French studio? I forget. It's a beautiful looking game. You only get 2 camera positions for your character, but you can flick between them on your controller. So there's one, and the other one was the one you saw, and there's the other one. So you can't follow around your character. You can obviously get her to go into rooms and stuff and look at things.
Very Resident Evil like, isn't it? Like classic Resident Evil.
Yes, although it's not horrific. Funny enough, I was showing my daughter yesterday. She said, "Oh, I don't like this. It looks really creepy." I said, "Yeah, but it isn't." I mean, there are some spooky creatures, but it's not that kind of thing. But what you also can do is you can push down on your right thumbstick, and then you see through her eyes. I didn't realize that till much later in this stream. But you can't move, but you can look around the whole thing in 3D. A bit like if you ever played Myst or Riven back in the day, where you could look around the 3D thing, and then you could move through it. It's kind of got that vibe. But you pick stuff up, you solve puzzles, lots of puzzles to solve.
That's a big teddy bear.
It's a massive teddy bear, that one.
Whoa.
I don't know what the story is with that one. You don't know where you are in. I mean, I know I'm in France because everything is in French other than her voice. But you don't know whether it's kind of like The Last of Us. So she's come back to this place after some kind of cataclysm. You can't really tell. Part of the story is discovering where you are in this world. At one point, she's able to go between summer and winter simply by turning on a water fountain outside, which is quite odd. But I'm really enjoying this because it's not that challenging. It's relatively straightforward to solve the puzzles. They're not massively stupid, but you do have to do various steps. So in order to go up this ladder into the attic, I've got to turn on the electric, which means I've got to find a way to turn on the generators, which means I've got to go to another part of the world and do this and that stuff. And then it keeps it all in a notepad so you can remember the things you need to do. I'm really enjoying this one. And both of these games, and this one was, I think it was like 15 quid or something. And I think Steel Rising was similar because they're at the upper end of the indie game sector, that kind of price. They're not good enough to be AA's or AAA's, but they're engaging enough and of a quality that you're not going to pay masses but still enjoy them. So they've been really occupying most of my time this week, mate, to be honest, other than that sneaky one that I can't tell you about.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've been on a bit of an adventure game kick myself as well, like a point and click type. It's point and click. I've been playing Walking Dead. I've replayed.
Oh, I love those. Yeah, the talk. What they're called? Talking. Oh, what's the name
Telltale.
of the Telltale. Yeah, great games. Batman was a good one as well. But I love the Walking Dead ones.
I'm not sure what's compelled me to go back to it. I think it's. Do you know what? I think it's a time of year thing. I got a very specific memory of playing The Walking Dead around this time. Coming into autumn. It's very, very autumnal vibe to that first season of Walking Dead.
Because it is literally, the game is set with the falling leaves and that kind of blowing wind and stuff. And
so I don't know if it's purely like a connection like that. It's a seasonal thing, but it's one of my favorite games of all time. The first series of Walking Dead, absolutely love it.
I loved it as well.
So I'm kind of, I don't know. It's like a comfort. Not like comfort food. It's like a comfort. You get these, don't you? Get comfort films, comfort food, and comfort games as well.
Mine is Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, Stu.
Okay.
I mean, that is chicken soup for me, my friend.
Yeah.
It's firstly, it's a really lovely moving story. Semi-religious. I mean, there are, but in a nice way. It's a warm way. But also the music and the environment, and you're walking around this gorgeous village in the summer with the birds, and there's nobody else around. And again, you've got to discover why. Where have the people gone? And as you discover that, the soundtrack to it is one of my favorite albums as well. Again, just I've recommended it to people. Once I said to a chap who used to work for me, "Oh, you must listen to this," and he's massively into that kind of stuff. And he said, "Oh, it's such and such. She's one of the she's like one of the most famous composers or the most famous musicians in the world." Like, wow, but it's gorgeous. The Chinese Room, I believe, is the developer.
That sounds.
It's a great game. You can pick it up for next to nothing.
That's set in a English village, isn't it?
Yeah. And you're in this beautiful place, just walking around with the music and the birds. It's lovely. It really makes you, if you've got SAD, go play that for an hour. You'll feel so much happier. But similar to your Telltale. But I remember that Walking Dead Telltale being quite sad.
It's a heartbreaking story. But it's such a wonderfully told story,
beautifully done.
And I have played season 2 and 3. I haven't done the final season, so I think I'm
Right.
going to do a run of these perhaps, because they're all on Game Pass. I think the final season is coming to Game Pass quite soon.
Ah,
So yeah, you can fill your boots if you've got Game Pass. So
yeah.
that's really
I'm
quite good.
definitely. But they did so
Mm.
many great. They did Borderlands. That was a really good Telltale.
Yes.
That was just kind of
Yes.
Borderlands spin-off, and Batman, obviously.
Batman's great.
But they
You're
were
right.
also. But they went bust, didn't they, as a studio?
They did. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very kind of convoluted. I don't know if because they came back, didn't they? But I don't know if
Yeah.
it's like
Was it-
another
what's it called?
entity. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, you know how these things go. It's probably tax dodge chapter, whatever they call it, chapter 11, isn't it?
Yeah, Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Told Tales it came back as. I don't know.
but yeah, so I've been playing that, and just a lot of Disney Dreamlight. What's it called? Dreamlight? I forget.
Dreamlight
I
Valley.
keep,
I'd
I
love
keep
to
getting the name wrong. Dreamlight Valley. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
But I was always a fan of. If you go back and listen to old podcasts, when when we kind of brought the show back, just after lockdown, and the time when Animal Crossing came out, I absolutely rinsed that game. And I don't know what it is. It's another comfort game.
Yeah.
It's turning into a midlife comfort gamer. I just
But
like
isn't that-
chicken
but isn't
soup
that- But
experience.
mate, look, listen, there's like the age of a gamer, isn't there? Right. So I've just made this up, by the way. So we might want to clip. I'm just forewarning you might want to clip it. Okay. So there's like the age of a gamer. So like the first age of a gamer is you just want to compete against your mates and show off. Right, so it's all about testosterone, or the potential of it, and it's all about that. And then the next one is you just need something to do to take your mind off the screaming kids, and it's more casual dad stuff. Then you get to our age, and it becomes more like chicken soup. It's just stuff that it's comforting, it's closeting,
Life is hard enough. Make me.
And
feel
then
good,
when they lay us in the box like they will Madge on Monday, they're going to slide a switch in beside us, mate, and a century's worth of batteries. You wait and see. Yeah. Talking of good news, mate.
What?
Well, we've talked in the past about. I've said, I don't know about getting a Switch because
come on,
and I do know, and because I'm so used to getting games for nothing now with Game Pass and Epic and stuff.
It's a concern. Yep.
Well, but I've seen you guys and your own talking about your OLEDs, and I've seen your videos, and you're all excited, and you got yours on the EE plan and everything. And I'm thinking, I don't know. Anyway, turns out my daughter has asked for one for Christmas with Animal Crossing and Zelda Breath of the Wild. She's going to be home for weeks, mate. I'm going to fill me boots.
There's one in the house.
Woohoo!
Welcome, Rock. Welcome. What's she going for? Is she going for? You can get.
Well, she was asking, and I said, you've got to get the OLED. Don't not get the OLED. It's this late in its, in the iterations. You don't want to be getting anything that's grey blacks. You want to be getting your blacks on and off.
Good choice. Oh
yeah.
I think.
100%. Yeah.
I think the strangely enough, I think the most redundant one is. I think the light has a purpose. The handheld only system.
Yeah.
I think the OLED is clearly the way to go. I think it's that middle configuration that just isn't neither there nor there. So it's kind of that's the most redundant.
And is that the one that you can't plug into the TV as well? That one?
No, that's the light. The light is the handheld only version. But I think that still has a place for some people. But I think it's that dockable mid configuration that I think really doesn't kind of serve a purpose to anyone these days.
Yeah. So you either go for the light or we go for the OLED. Exactly. I've told her to go for the OLED. Yeah, looking forward to it, mate.
Happy days. What's the gift for her? A gift for you.
But you see how I work? I'm not buying it. This is how I work. I never pay for nothing. If I can get it for free, I'm in. I'm not going to.
Yep. I like it. Yeah. Let's go back to the notes. What else have I been up to, Rock? I can't really remember.
We got Nintendo Direct announcements, mate.
Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you. Well, that's a brilliant segue, actually, Rock. Thank you.
That's all right, buddy.
So yes, we had a Nintendo Direct, September Direct this past week. I can't remember what day that was on. When was it? Wednesday? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was Wednesday.
It's irrelevant, but Nintendo didn't really do one around kind of the expected E3 shenanigans that we got. They typically do one in September, so it'd been rumored for a long time, and we got the direct as it transpired this past week.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a massive fan of it, but let's go through the announcements anyway. I
Okay.
guess the big one was the naming of the Breath of the Wild sequel, The Legend of
Ooh.
Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. We've got a brief trailer for that, no gameplay, which was disappointing. But they've named it, and we've got a release date for Tears of the Kingdom, which is coming May 12th, 2023. So next spring. Soon be here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, hang on.
I
23
think,
is next year. I was thinking it was the year after.
Come on. I think that's a game that you will love. I think Breath of the Wild is a game I think that it's a shame that you haven't been able to experience it because you don't have a Switch. So I think I think that's certainly one that you would love to play. I could be wrong, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on Zelda as a franchise?
I've never played it, mate. I mean, the closest I've been, and I'm told this because I've never played Zelda, I've never even seen it streamed. The closest I've been is Genshin Impact and Phoenix Rising. Phoenix Rising on Ubisoft, which I'm told again, both of those
very
games,
similar,
very much influenced on and by
Yeah.
Zelda. I love both those games, which is why I know I'm going to love Zelda.
Yeah.
And I truthfully would I was in the mind of buying myself a Switch purely to play. And it was actually the fact that I saw the new one announced that it made me think about it. I thought, God, maybe it's time. Maybe I've got everything else, as you know, mate. I've got Xbox, I've got PlayStation, I've got a PC, I've got GeForce Now, I've got Stadia. But maybe it's time to get because we've got a Nintendo Wii, but it's seen better days. So I thought maybe now is the time to embrace the Nintendo. But as it turned out, bless her, my daughter said, "Dad, I'm getting one," and I thought I shall adopt it for Christmas.
Happy days. You'll have to figure out getting Zelda though. You'd have to. That's the thing. Do you start buying games for your daughter, but they're for yourself?
Serious question. Is there an emulator for the Switch?
I don't know, quite honestly.
Because
I would be surprised if there wasn't.
Well, I mean, technically, there's not much going on there that wouldn't work quite easily within a PC.
There must be, surely.
And then potentially, I guess it would be a way to play it if you bought it, had a license for it, got it in there somehow. There might be a way, maybe a way around it.
Martinez is currently doing a second playthrough of Breath of the Wild.
Wow.
Amazing,
But I should imagine Haziki is of an age now, mate, is he not? He probably, if you played it before with him, he may have been that bit younger. And so it may have this again, the age of gamers. So you can play a game 3 years apart. When you're that age, your comprehension about what the game was about versus what it's about now can be a completely different experience and enjoy it in a wholly different way. And I think the beautiful thing, Martinez, is that you're playing it with him, because I think, like we were saying earlier with our dads, it's that stuff that you take with you for the rest of your life, Stu, isn't it? Playing, going doing things with your dad, whether it's clay shooting or whether it's fishing or just watching Star Trek.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that the beautiful memories that you never lose of being with your dad.
What do we think of the purge law of Illinois, or in Illinois? I have no idea what that is.
The purge law. No, actually, I do. Hang on.
Are they bringing in the purge, as in the films? Then
I follow closely American politics, actually.
Welcome.
Yes, great to see you. Thank you. I do follow American politics very closely. So, for example, Florida lawyer, Florida judge has given young Donald everything that he requested when it came to releasing the documents to a master, which means that the DOJ are going to have to go up to ultimately the Supreme Court, potentially get it overturned. So I watch this stuff all the time. I love American politics. The purge, though, you'd have to enlighten me on what they're purging.
Okay, so Illinois is passing a law that some would say will make history. Illinois is looking to be the first state in the United States to abolish cash bail. And the consequences of passing such a law have many believing the state could mirror the horror movie The Purge. Where in the film,
Cash-
citizens were given 24 hours to commit all.
Because we don't have that, do we? No, in this country, if you get put in a slammer, somebody can't come up and go, here, it's $50,000 in bail money, and then you leave it. I mean, it doesn't work over here. But obviously, it's a massive business in the States. But it's not saying it's unique to America, but certainly it's not something we have in the UK. I mean, you can be bound over and told that you've got to stay at home and stuff while you're waiting for your sentencing or your court hearing. But typically, if you get found guilty of something, you either go home and then you've got to come to court if it's a fairly petty crime. But if it's something like manslaughter or something, then you're kept in a prison until the date of your court hearing. And then if you're found innocent, or if you're found guilty even, they'll take off the time that you've served prior to it. Whereas in the States, you go, well, I'm going to make the bail massive. And it'll be somebody else's responsibility to make sure that you don't flee the state. So it's going to be $1 million bail. And if you've got the money, or you go to the bondsman and you put your house up and stuff, it's a different thing. So are we saying, Hempley, that in Illinois, they're looking to drop that so that you wouldn't be able to get bail for cash, I'm assuming? Or if I misread that completely, Stu?
No, it's murder kidnapping. They can get out on no cash bail. Okay, so that sounds fair enough, isn't it? Don't want those types of people.
Murder kidnapping. No, indeed. And this is, as I say, this is how it works pretty much everywhere else in the world. There is a problem with judiciary everywhere, which, although they say you're innocent till proven guilty, let's be frank, you're actually guilty till proven guilty in most cases, aren't you? And it's even worse if you're a celebrity. I often think, you get accused by Project U-Tree of doing dastardly deeds, only to be found innocent. Your career is completely scuppered. Whereas it should be that you are entitled to anonymity, I believe, until found guilty.
Interestingly, on that, Rock, there's a interesting documentary. I think it's on Discovery Plus.
Okay.
Oh no! Sorry, it was Channel 4. Channel 4, and they followed. This is going to mean nothing to our American listeners. Dr. Fox.
Okay.
Paul Gambaccini.
Yeah.
And there was a third one.
It was the guy from It's a Knockout, wasn't there? Stuart Hall. He was part of all of that.
Yeah.
But he actually did go down.
But they take three
U-Tree
people who were involved in Operation U-Tree, who were never obviously found guilty. Ultimately,
ruined.
Yeah. And it goes into that, innocent until proven, or guilty until proven guilty, and how that affects people's lives. And
well, I mean, they were helicopter cycling Cliff Richard's gaff.
Cliff Richard, that's the one.
Yeah, totally televised on the BBC. And he's like, well, hang on a minute, I've not even been accused of anything. But he won substantial damages against the Beeb, in fairness, because he could afford it with his lawyers. But there's been too much of that. And I've always persevered. I remember the Scottish guy that used to be on Blue Peter, tall guy, forgotten his name. And similar thing happened to him. Oh, what was his name? And
Peter Purves.
No, not that far back. In your time when you were young.
John Leslie.
John Leslie. So John Leslie was accused of beating up, I forget her name now, and was never found guilty as far as I remember, but his career was ruined. He's never done anything since. And I just think, you know what, if you're found guilty, then tough, mate, serve your sentence, take your bird. But until you're found guilty, you've got to, everybody covers the heck out of it up to and including the court case. And then afterwards, when you're found innocent, nobody cares, by which point nobody's taking you on because you stink, even though you were found innocent. And I just think that's wrong. And the police say, oh yeah, but it gives an opportunity for other folk to turn up and say, yes, he also put his hand up my trousers. But the problem is that also attracts people that are thinking, oh, he's got a load of money, old Rolf, loads of dosh. I shall put in there that indeed I sat on his lap. Talking of which, did you know that I met Jimmy Savile twice?
I'm sure you've mentioned this.
I have. I've said it in the chat here before. I met him twice, mate. I met him once on Top of the Pops.
Okay.
So I was you could apply for tickets, and I went on with my then girlfriend Jackie, back in the early mid 80s, I would say, early to mid 80s.
Sounded like Jimmy Savile there.
Yeah, now and then, and and that was the very final one that he was ever on Top of the Pops.
Wow.
And I tell you who else was on there. Paul Young was number one with Wherever I Lay My Hat. They had Jimmy the Hoover. Who are you? You wouldn't remember, mate. You weren't even born. And then Jimmy, and she pinched his bum. She actually pinched his bum, which was a bizarre twist of
your girlfriend's bum.
She pinched Jimmy's bottom.
Oh,
yes, bizarre twist of history. Right
the hunter
there
became the hunted.
Totally, yes. I mean, hello, I've never had this before going on. And then I met him again a few years before he died at the local Marine training camp in Lympston, where he was a hugely big kind of fundraiser for the Marines. I don't know why, bizarrely. They said to me, he said, he's a nice guy, but he's a pain in the ass because he gets mega pissed, and we always have to find him a quarters and some accommodation on camp so he can sleep it over. But anyway, very small, tiny guy. And I remember saying to him, "Oh yeah, my girlfriend pinched your bum." And he said, "That's funny because it's normally me." And I will never forget those words as long as I live.
Wow.
I know. I've met Keith Chegwin as well, and Maggie Philbin. I worked with Maggie Philbin for a little while on a project. She was Keith Chegwin's wife, and they were both on Saturday Swap Shop.
Okay.
And also she did Tomorrow's World as well for a while.
I know. I know.
Yeah. I met him through the Big Breakfast. Where I won a TV, and we became friends, and we'd exchange. He's got these videos on Twitter of him saying, "Hi, Rock," and then it was Rockster, because I've got another Twitter channel with 15,000 flipping followers on, and that was on that one. James Whale, he often talks to me. The other day he popped up, said he was in Exeter. Funny enough, almost met up. I know a few. I can do the old famous folk, mate. Yeah,
Connected.
I've met a few in my days. Simon Bates. Hello, lovelies.
Yeah. Anyway, Nintendo Direct. That was
more massive. Straight off the cliff with the segue. That one went.
Pikmin 4. Was finally finally revealed on the Nintendo Direct, and that's going to come in 2023. I'm not a massive fan of Pikmin. It's like an RTS type game where you're maneuvering little plant people to collect things. Yeah, it's like the Nintendo version. Nintendo do versions of genres, don't they? They're their own takes on genres. They've got Splatoon is their arena-based shooter game. Pikmin is their RTS, essentially. It's very Nintendo, very cutesy, but not one of my favorite franchises of theirs. But that's coming. Fire Emblem Engage. It's like a grand role-playing game. That's coming out. The new version of that game. Kirby's coming. Did you see GoldenEye? The remake of remaster?
Yeah. Although I never played it first time around. I know that it's dear to everybody's heart. My problem with it, mate, we talked about it last night, is they're going to apply higher res textures, but it's going to be the same shitty looking models from 20 odd years ago. So my fear is that, everyone that loved it first time around is going to fire up and go, "Oh, I wish I hadn't bothered now, because it's just destroyed my memories of how much I love this game."
Indeed. The strange thing I found was the Xbox version's getting multiplayer. The Switch version is getting online multiplayer, but the Xbox version isn't, which I found very bizarre. Very bizarre.
Yeah, I saw that. That is odd, isn't it?
Very odd.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure what that's about. But the guys did cover it off last night. We had some theories, but I forget. If it's more than 13 seconds ago, it doesn't get
Yeah.
retained.
Yeah.
I just
Octopath.
sent you a link.
I saw
I
that.
just wanted to prove it because I thought he's not going to believe me.
Yep. Segway boss Jimmy Heselden
Heselden.
dies in scooter cliff fall.
It's true. It's exactly what. It's no BS. The MD. And I mean, we're going back to 2010, but he literally shot off a cliff on his Segway. He only bought it the year before.
Yeah, there's some irony in that.
Amazing, isn't it?
Octopath Traveler 2 was announced.
Oh, that's a good game.
Yeah, I've never played the first one, but I love that HD 2D art style. That's great. Yeah. Bayonetta 3 gets a new trailer. Blah 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 blah. GoldenEye 007 that we mentioned. So that there's a lot of announcements made, but nothing really kind of caught my fancy. I don't know what I was expecting, but there was nothing there that really kind of hooked me. Sad to say, but yeah, there's a couple of cloud games that they announced. Resident Evil Village cloud version is coming to Switch. They are really ropey, those Switch cloud games. Really ropey. I tried Control.
Oh, is it no good on Switch?
No.
That's got a God mode, mate, by the way. Everywhere but probably Switch. You can play that and never die. That's what I did.
I love your style. So good.
See, but the thing is, though, if you're looking at it on the little screen, I'm guessing it doesn't matter. It's when you pop it up on the TV you're going to see any issues, isn't it?
Yeah. I just found when I was trying the cloud games on Switch, it's just very stuttery. As if it's your connection to the server is probably based mostly in Japan, maybe. And I don't know, perhaps there was just too long of a delay there. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to talk technical but failing miserably. But yeah, I think it's done by, I forget what the company's called, but it's it's not your Google or your Microsoft or whatever. It's not one of your big players. It's one of your, I think, it's a Taiwanese startups. So
oh really?
Inevitably, I think the quality is going to be less than what you'd expect from a cloud gaming service, which is a shame because I think that is a really good solution for some of these some of these games that have more or require more from your system.
Yeah.
But yeah, It Takes Two. Actually, that's a good point. It Takes Two is coming on Switch.
That's it's a great game. Yeah,
that suits the Switch perfectly as well.
It does. It's a lovely game.
So yeah, nothing really else kind of jumping out at me. So that was a Nintendo Direct. I didn't watch the Sony State of Play, so I don't really know what was announced from that.
We covered it a bit. Rock Players, Tekken 8, something called. There was one game that was really interesting, actually, Stu, which was sort of kind of apocalyptic post kind of Walking Dead looking type thing, 3D. They only showed a very short trailer, but it was a sort of station wagon driving along and obviously bolted bits into this thing that he'd found on his journey. And I can't remember what it's called now, the Traveler or something. But that looks
Pacific Drive?
Yeah, Pacific Drive, just like the Traveler, but that was the one. See, in one ear, completely out the other, quicker than it came in. That's kind of how it works for me. You don't know what it's like. There's a brain in there, but it just can't communicate with this gob. It's like something else. Bob Monkhouse controls my mouth. Stephen Hawking's living in the brain part, but Bob Monkhouse has got the mouth under control, and the two of them are battling all the time. It's terrible.
Bless you. Did they show much PSVR 2? Because that's something I'm interested in.
I didn't watch it live, but I watched an amazing video today of a guy who, if you like, I can get you the link. He was allowed 3 hours of play with it a couple of days ago. I did a cracking video. And I have to say, because I've got the original PSVR,
Yeah.
although it kind of went up in smoke, and I just thought, what's that smell? I took the thing off, and there's
Jesus.
smoke coming out of it. Well, what? So it's. I then put it in a plastic bag, and it hasn't been out since. But but I have to say, let me just find it quickly. This guy was saying this was. He looked amazing. Where am I? Where's my library?
I'm interested in the controller that they've developed for it. 'Cause it's got a lot of
haptic control. There's even
from the-
sensors that feel your finger close to the buttons if you don't touch them,
Oh, interesting.
which is amazing. History. Here we are. All right, Martha's dead. I
dabbled with the Quest 2, which is I do like a bit of VR, but I get motion sickness quite easily. So
yeah.
I purchased it, but then I had to kind of return it because it affected me too much. But I did enjoy the little bit I could play.
To be honest, mate, so I bought it fairly close to when it came out, and I played a few games on it. But after a while, I started to get that as well. And the worst thing was, it became almost like Pavlov's dog. I started to associate putting the thing on with feeling nauseous, so I would actually kept away from it. But this is it's not Clive's brother, although it does look very, very similar. But it does look. If you kind of move on to the point where he starts to show the actual game, so he's playing Resident Evil Village, which and I think you've got like a very, very high res. It's like 4K per eye or something. And the real clever tech of this is that it motion tracks your eye, and where you are looking, it gives you full resolution, and around the outside, it drops it down to a low res.
That's cool.
Which you don't see because you can't. It's peripheral. But it does mean that it can run super high quality games because only the small part that your eye is looking into is actually rendered at a higher resolution. But yeah, he says it's about a 14-minute long video, and he says at the end he plays the beginning of there's a Forbidden West. What's it called? Horizon Zero Dawn. It's like a game they've made for the PSVR 2, which is actually what he's showing there. And he says the opening sequence that he played is the best experience he's ever had in VR, and his entire channel is VR. So it's interesting. But he thought it was amazing. Here you go. Look.
Oh, you go. Look.
Yeah. So where the red circle is obviously the eye, so that's in perfect focus, but everything else around it drops the resolution down.
That's incredible tech, isn't it? That's a true evolution, really.
Very, very clever. Yeah, but you can only imagine. So I'm really looking. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I think it's got to be sub 500, otherwise it ain't going to sell. I think the other one was about 350, 400, if I remember rightly, the original one. Otherwise you're talking the price of an Xbox Series X or a PS5, and I just don't think they're not going to sell in the numbers they need it to sell in.
No, I genuinely think love them or loathe them, I do think Meta really have got kind of that market almost sewn up. I mean, I think the Quest is just such a being wireless. I think it's a huge thing.
This one isn't. This one you are connected. Exactly. I thought it was going to be, but turns out no, there is an umbilical cord. It's quite light, he says, but it's still there.
I think the one downfall for Quest is the quality of the lens and the power of the unit itself. It's not obviously as good as this. This is a PS5 running these games in VR, but I tell
you what else it does.
Convenience is a big thing, I think, for consumers.
For sure. He shows right at the beginning that it maps your environment. So if you're getting close to the coffee table, it will warn you. It'll stop you from going there. So, it literally shows a sort of video of it scanning the lounge and building up this 3D thing. And if you press a button on the headset, you can see through it so that you can literally look at what's in your hand and stuff or talk to somebody. Incredibly clever tech. I just kind of FOMO's going to get me. It's going to get me in the end. I know it. I'm going to end up picking it up. Yeah, looks so good.
Yes, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the state of play. What's God of War got? I think got a trailer, didn't it?
Ragnarok. That's coming up.
Yeah,
It's coming up soon, isn't it? I think. Is it next week or the week after? End of the month, I think. Or is it November? Or is it next year? Or was it last year?
Where are we? What's going on?
Well,
I think it's November. I think it's mid-November. I could be
right.
Wrong. But that's a game that's a lot of people are looking forward to. Not one for me, sadly, but horses for courses, I guess. Horses for courses. Okay. I heard you talk about the fact that you were a bit of a Star Trek fan on your show.
Oh, yes.
Earlier this evening.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And I've got some. Again, I bought this news story for you, really.
Oh, thank you, mate.
And for Jimmy, because I know Jimmy's a huge Star Trek fan.
Is he like me, a fan of the original, or is he more of a next gen stroke?
I think he's. Yeah, I think he's more of a next gen.
Yeah, because it's a bit like your Bond, isn't it? It's like the Bond you grew up with is your favourite Bond.
Yeah, who's your favourite captain? I guess, isn't it?
Roger Moore for me, isn't it? It's got to be Roger, big Roger. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's Kirk. It's Kirk.
Well, I'm glad you say that because this is something we missed from our chat about Star Trek Day from last week.
Right.
Jimmy wasn't aware of Star Trek Day as a concept.
No, me neither.
Well, apparently, it was a day where they just announced loads of Star Trek news, as the name suggests. But one thing that kind of skipped under flew under our radar was the fact that they are releasing a scripted podcast called Star Trek Khan SETI Alpha 5. And it's going to fill in the gap. That gap where Khan was left on SETI Alpha 5 and leading into The Wrath of Khan, the film, which I think is quite an interesting concept.
So when there's that primal scream at the end, it's like.
I love The Wrath of Khan. I think that's my favourite of the classic films. Yeah. That and Undiscovered Country. I do love that film.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is. Do you take in many scripted podcasts at all?
The truth is that my podcast consumption is a way that I go to sleep. So the sad thing is that if I listen to anything of any length, I'm typically gone in about 15 minutes. So it doesn't take much. It's an old habit, mate, that goes back to I used to listen to James Whale on Talk Sport back before I knew what right wing meant. And I would be gone in no time. And nowadays I just do it with podcasts. So it's usually Nick Abbott on a Friday, Saturdays, amazing. Have you ever listened to Nick Abbott?
No, but I used to listen to James Whale all the time as well.
Yeah.
On Talk Sport, yeah.
And do you remember what was that guy called before? He used to pretend he had tiger cubs. Flip it. It'll come to me in a second. But yeah, I did. I used to listen to him all the time with what was his Ash?
Oh,
Ash, Asher, who still does it with him. But they now do it on TV, on the TalkSport TV channel.
Are they on that? That's interesting.
Actually, bless him, no, he's got throat cancer, James Well. I don't think he's long for this planet, bless him.
Oh, no.
I think he's had to take a step down. But he was doing it until recently with Ash. And it's funny because Ash was he's like skinny guy and he's massive. But he's got that same humor, that incredibly dry, very intelligent humor that I used to love. He'd bounce off James Well with.
Yeah.
It was such a good show. I got a round of applause from James Well once. I went on there and I espoused a UFO theory of mine. And I did this. I waffled on for about 5 minutes with this theory. And at the end of it, him and Ash went, bloody brilliant. Brilliant. I was so chuffed.
I used to love James Well. And, what's his name? Tommy
Vance.
No.
Tommy Vance. Tommy Vance was on. He did have a great show. He was on Magpie. Not Vance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
Tommy.
children's TV presenter.
Yeah,
He used
he used
to
to be on Magpie. He was brilliant. He was a
be-
genius.
yeah. He used to open the airway to the phone lines to anyone, and they just phoned in and just like.
And he would just twist. They thought they'd get one over on him, and he would just do the most amazing. Yeah, he got sacked in the end. I think something happened. Tommy, oh crikey, Magpie. That's all I remember.
I can't remember his
Magpie,
name. Hang on,
Tommy Boyd.
Tommy Boyd, that's it.
Tommy
which is what-
Boyd.
Yeah.
Tommy Boyd, British presenter. He's flipping heck.
Yeah.
Got to show you this, mate.
Go on.
Oh wow, how some people age. Christ, bless him. Oh no, that's Jesus. I mean, if U-Tree were looking for anybody, this is the one.
Let's have a look. Here we go. One caller. Skip. Oh, it's PSVR 2. Have you?
Oh, if I just give you the wrong link. Oh, mate, sorry. Hang on. I'll get it back. I've got it. Hang on. I'll get it back. I'll give you what he looks like now. It's my mouse. It's not working very well. I'll give you him now so that we've got context.
Yeah.
There you go. Here's him. Right, static. Make sure I've got the right one this time. Yeah. Here was him back when he would have been on TalkSport. Okay. And this is him. Open it in a tab. Let's get the right one. Here we go. And this is him now. Oh my God. Bless him. Lovely guy. I loved his show.
That's
What's that all about?
I don't know.
Oh, mate, that should work. What about the next one then of him now, Daily Mail? That should work.
Yeah. Okay. Oh Christ, yes. He had a hard life, didn't he?
Jeez, I know.
That's not a very flattering photo, is it? Really?
It's not, is it? Bless him.
Zoom in on the nose. Oh, there you go.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but no, when he was on, I've got to get the right one. Here we go. Tommy Boyd. Sooty Fan Club. I have no idea. Was he on Sooty as well? He was. He apparently presented Sooty at one point or another. Very, very intelligent guy.
Oh yes, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, super intelligent. He was like Jimmy, mate. You know, he was kind of a man of the world. Been there, done that, knew stuff. It's
okay. Yeah.
Well, that Sooty fandom. He's in there. I had no idea. I didn't know he was in. Is he Wizzy? Let's get busy.
Okay. Let's.
Well, Tommy, look at him. I tell you, if you walk down into your local Sainsbury's, look at him there.
Yeah.
It's a different human being,
isn't it? Probably, to be fair, it probably is like 40 years apart.
Yeah, true. That's true. That's true. I don't know how old he is. How old is he now? Oh, you go. He was born in 1952.
Wow.
There you are. So, but still only what, late 60s, very early 70s. It's not. I don't know. Well, he's actually, I'm 74. Yeah, maybe he's about 72ish. But I was always I don't know what he went on to do. I think I missed him. Though.
Hard drugs, by the looks of things.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's going to be suing you now, mate. This is out there in the airwaves.
Allegedly.
This one's for Benji, and this one's for the judge. Oh, that was Bernard Bresnell. Cool, Sid, check that one out.
So yeah, there's a Star Trek scripted podcast coming out that's going to fill in the gaps between that episode of the original series where they drop off Khan and the Wrath of Khan, the film. So yeah, what does Khan get up to?
That's good. Do you remember the old cartoon series of Star Trek? Would you ever see that? Or was it before your time?
I know of it.
Yeah, it's one of those really rubbish Hanna-Barberas, but I loved it when I was younger. I thought it was super. I was
really surprised that Star Trek only did like 3 series or something.
I know.
It's really stupid.
It's amazing. But then, it's like I said earlier, it's a bit like the Beatles only existed for a couple of years, and yet their reverberations, their ripples from that year of those years of creativity are still being felt to this day. So, And all credit to the original team as well, and team of writers.
Rock, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And it's time that we kind of start to wrap up the show, but we do have an and finally section, which is where we take a wry look at the week's news, or find something witty or something to send us home on. So let's take a look at and finally. I have to
imagine the music, so I'm sorry about that. It's my fault. Everyone else said they could hear it.
You have done diligent work on the and finally segment for this week.
Thank you, my friend.
So how do we? What do you want to?
Okay, so here's the context. All right. So Elizabeth Truss is the new Prime Minister of Britain, and that in and of itself is a whole world of comedy, because there's so much material on this woman. She is completely she's largely unfit to be a human being, and possibly even alive. But nonetheless, she finds herself in this role, and she can't do anything without it being comedic. So she, I think, she was either meeting the Queen, bless her, the day or two before she, waltzed off this mortal coil, or it was, in fact, the current king. It was one of those two. It's irrelevant. She was meeting royalty, and every boy knows how to curtsy. It's not difficult. You put one foot behind the other and bend. Well, for whatever reason, nobody taught Liz how to curtsy, and this is the result. These are legendary memes of Liz curtsying.
The meme factory went into overdrive.
Oh, bless them all.
Okay, let's start sharing our screens, and we're going to share with you. How many have we got here?
Just over. There's 11, in fact. I gave one for free.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, that's the first
on
one.
the head. But look at that curtsy. She even looks like she's been drawn by crayon. Look at the face.
Dude.
Genuinely true footage of her curtsying.
Yeah.
It's a shame you haven't got the sound effects, though, because it literally goes.
Oh, I might be able to do that. Hold on.
You just have to hit the sound on the.
There you go.
There it is. There it is.
So very good start. Very good start.
That's it.
I think the next one is kind of a variation on this, because they took this and then ran with it to some degree. So
oh yes,
let's check out.
Yeah, lots of them are variations.
Meme 2. Okay, here we go.
You could just have it on as your clock, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Audio.
Okay. Yep. Slight variation. I mean, that gives you better context of the
yes
curtsy, isn't it?
Your Majesty.
And it is the Queen, because he says Your Majesty. So
Your Majesty.
More of a hollow bonk, to be honest. Suggesting there's not quite much in there.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Your Majesty.
Fair enough. Yeah, I like
What is the worst curtsy ever? Look at that.
Okay, this one you've titled "Gone with the Wind."
Oh yes.
So let's,
I mean, I gave them all titles and everything. I tell you this. Audio.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just beautiful. Speaks for itself.
I like that.
Oh, I love these people. The irreverence.
This looks like a variation on Gone with the Wind. You've called this Gone with the Wind better.
Yeah.
Hey.
I think it was. I think it's an improvement. They've evolved. They're evolving as we go.
Okay.
Where's your audio? It's down there. There it is. There it is.
Hold on.
There we go. Oh, you've lost it again. Turn it up. There you go.
Echo. I like it. It's reverberating around. Where was she? Balmoral at this point?
This would have. I think yes, she was in Balmoral. She had to fly up to Scotland. It's so funny.
Yeah, I like it.
Just brilliant.
It gives a sense of evokes that sense of quite how magnificent and vast
massive
Queen's estate is.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, this intrigues me. This is Gone with the Wind, wetter.
Yes. So we've had better, and now we have wetter.
Now we have wetter.
Yeah.
I didn't quite. It's hypnotic, isn't it? Really?
You could set your clock to it, honestly. Where's wetter then?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So this is wetter. Gone with the Wind, wetter again. Let me just.
It's the same one.
I'm getting both of them.
Are you we're only seeing better, but you maybe we're not getting wetter.
You're not.
No, we're getting better.
Oh yeah. Hold on. I was in the wrong tab. Beg your pardon.
Yeah, no.
Beg your pardon.
Yeah, we've had enough of better. Here we go. Is wetter.
Yeah.
That's one that we call the follow through episode.
Fine.
Yeah.
A short, sharp, wet.
Yeah.
That's almost ripping. Yep, I like that. That's good. What else we got here? This you've entitled "Actually Good Dancing."
Oh yes.
Copy the link.
It's fine, go!
I like that. Some Europop.
Yeah, love that one.
Europop from the Eurosceptic.
Yeah. Yes, although she wasn't originally.
No. This is bad dancing.
Yeah, this is actually bad dancing, this one. No limits. There's your copyright strike if you wanted one. So she's not in a rhythm or anything, mate. She's totally just blown it completely.
Yeah, like dead dancing.
Awful dancing. Yeah, look at it go.
Out of rhythm, out of time.
Totally. Look, Sporran's doing a better job, in fairness.
I like it. True Station.
Yeah, I think the next two are photographs.
Okay.
I think maybe yes. I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, here she is.
Oh, I like this. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
There you are.
Yeah.
She's spilt this whatever that is in there, red wine or something.
I'm gonna go with tomato soup.
Tomato soup. But look at the face. I mean, it's literally like something from a John Carpenter movie. It's just
Yeah, the thing.
The Thing. Yeah. I mean, look at the evil intent. I'll have you,
Yeah.
butler.
Yeah.
And we have too old for soup.
Two. Okay, here we are, ready for this.
As you can tell, folks, there were rather a lot of these. The world went to it. There you go.
What is that?
That's a hearing aid, I believe.
Uh-huh. Very good. Very
that
good.
was quite good.
I like the attention to detail, like the
there's some beautiful work in there.
the soup kind of on
Down
the
there.
dress.
Yeah. No, they've gone for it on that one.
Yeah.
Two more. So I can't remember this next one.
This is called Not Fair.
Oh yes, I remember. Yeah, this is a good one. You'll like this one, Stu.
Okay.
You'll like this one. You'll know instantly what this one is.
Oh, Kevin.
Yeah. Look. I think if you click on it, it'll pop out. Actually,
There you go.
Yeah, look.
Surly teenager.
Yeah.
Staring into the future.
And look at the one on the right. She's got Little's bags.
Very good.
Oh, there's so many good ones.
And this is the extra one. One more for luck.
One more for luck. And I genuinely can't remember what this one was.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Ah.
Perfect. Remember those things? You used to pop them up and You pushed your thumb up underneath, and then they would bounce about a bit. Do you remember those?
Might be before my time. Do I
Oh,
remember that?
mate.
I don't think I
Oh.
do.
I don't even know what they were called. Otherwise, I could find a. Basically, the legs were like string, and they were tied inside.
Oh yes, I do remember those.
Yeah. So when the bottom was out, it pulled the string, kept the thing
Yes.
standing. When you pushed it in, the string was released, and so it would bounce about. I have no idea why everyone ever bought one, but that's how. It's just you see, she's attached to one of those.
Yeah. Like a puppet on a string.
Yeah, kind of. Well, precisely.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly what she is. There you go.
Rock. Thank you for those, and thank you for your time this evening. And
Oh,
thank
mate,
you
I've
for
loved it. I knew I would. I genuinely meant it when I say this is A, an honor, and B, a dream. I've always wanted to be on the show, but I couldn't do it with Jimmy because he frightens me.
Oh, Jimmy's all right.
He's too clever, and he knows stuff, and that intimidates me. I'd have been like the little fellow in the corner saying nothing, but you've allowed me to shine.
I hope it's lived up to expectations anyway.
I've loved it, mate.
I've had a great time.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I've had a great time, and I think it's been a good show. So that's good. It's been something different and something. Yeah, it's been a unique experience in a good way.
Yes. So can I now have the potentially special guest taken off at the front and just have special guests on the description?
Fine.
Thank you.
Passed. Well done, sir.
He's been special.
That's been good, mate. And yeah, like I say, I know time is such a precious commodity for everyone these days, and you've taken time out on your Friday evening after a very busy weekly schedule, so thank you for that.
Oh mate, I've loved it. Honestly, I've genuinely loved it. Thank you so much for asking me. It's been
thank you to anyone who has popped along and followed Rokkover from his channel. It's
just coming over. Thank you.
Yeah, much appreciated. As always, let's give a shout out to those who have joined us in the chat. Mostly Martinez, thank you for joining us. Hempley Life, thank you, sir or madam.
Yeah.
Humble, thank you for joining us. Who else have we had? Rokkshow, thank you for joining us.
He's a good fellow.
Cloud Gaming Dad, is that?
Cloud Gaming Dad, Joe, yeah.
Join us, Joe. Absolute pleasure to have you. I think that is everyone. Yeah. But if you're watching this on demand because you've missed the live show, then obviously thank you for joining us after the fact. If you want to listen to us on your commute, you can do so by the audio podcast will be up during the weekend, so at some point, so you can go and check out your YouTube feed choice for that. Right, all that's really left for me to say is thank you, Rock, so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll have you on again in the future if you want to come back. Of course.
Yes, you know where I live. Well, I can't escape you anymore, can I? Yeah, as long as you don't hold me to wearing another dodgy shirt.
That's fine. It's fine. Rock, do you want to just give people a shout out to where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, sure thing. Well, you can find me on Twitter as Rokkshow, Rokkshow. That's the one that's most relevant. And on YouTube as Rokkshow, plural. Don't blame me, it's YouTube's fault. And some other places as well. And Twitch as Rock Play. Those are the main places, and usually on every day. So if I'm doing something every day, weekday, then at weekends, I kind of let my hair down a bit, Stu, and I play all the other stuff like Xbox and PlayStation and stuff. That I don't particularly, and that stuff tends to go on the Rock Play YouTube channel and on Twitch, but I'm always up to something. Please do come and say hi. I'm a very engaging fellow. You'll always get an instant response from me as well.
Yeah, I can echo that, as you do some good work over on all of your channels. It's lovely stuff. A great content creator, mate. Certainly someone I look up to and respect as a content creator.
I love you to pieces. You're a good dude.
Thank you, mate. A final word to the show to Midge, Renaissance man, alumni, Midge, James the Midgemeister Perkins.
Awesome.
Welcome, Midge. Go check out Midge's Twitter account. He's at Midgemeister. He's doing some sterling filmmaking work. So I just
Is
want to
he?
shout Midge out. Yeah.
Oh well, if you need
don't
a voiceover actor,
exactly. If you need someone for your trailer, Midge, 'cause,
Yeah.
Rock is the man.
no one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century.
Yeah.
Mm. And William's been watching as well. Bless you, William. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, William.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah. So there we go. There we go. Thank you, one and all. Until next week. Please take care and goodbye.
Oh, love you to pieces. Cheers, everybody. Thank you.
Bye all. Bye bye.